Are you ready for the ultimate Zarpado compilation facts? Subscribe and let's start. The Satare Mawe tribe of the Amazon performs an initiation rite where young men must wear gloves filled with bullet ants. The pain of the sting is considered the worst in the world, and the initiate must endure it for 10 minutes without uttering a sound. In Bhutan, the government measures national success through gross national happiness instead of gross domestic product, GDP. This policy prioritizes the spiritual well-being, culture, and environment of its citizens over economic growth. On the island of Poveglia in Italy, it is said that the soil is composed of 50% ashes of plague victims. This place is closed to the public and is considered one of the most haunted places on the planet due to its dark medical history. The Peel P50 is officially the smallest production car in the world, with room for only one adult and a bag. It lacks a reverse gear, so the driver must get out and pull it manually using a handle located at the rear. Actor Nicolas Cage once bought a $15,000 pet octopus, claiming the animal helped him with his acting. His extravagant spending also included 2 European castles and a 9-foot-tall funerary pyramid in New Orleans. In Iceland, hakarl is a fermented shark dish that is left buried underground to eliminate its natural toxins. Due to its strong ammonia smell, many tourists consider it one of the most difficult culinary experiences to tolerate. The La Tomatina Festival in Buñol, Spain, began accidentally in 1945 during a parade of giants and big-headed figures. A street fight involved a vegetable stall, and over the years it has become the most famous food battle in the world. Estonia is the most digitized country in the world, allowing its citizens to vote, sign documents, and file taxes online. Nearly 99% of public services are available 24 hours a day, except for marriage, divorce, and land sales. The Gates of Hell in Turkmenistan is a natural gas crater that has been burning continuously since 1971. It was set alight by Soviet engineers to prevent the spread of methane gas, mistakenly believing the fire would burn itself out quickly. The Leyland P76 was a car designed with a trunk so large it was advertised as being able to hold a barrel. This Australian car could carry a 44-gallon drum inside, which made it famous but didn't save its sales. Tarare was an 18th century French man famous for his insatiable appetite, which allowed him to eat an entire live cat. Despite eating rations meant for 15 people, he never gained weight, although his body emitted a foul odor and constant hot steam. In Cambodia, fried spiders are a popular snack that originated due to extreme food shortages during the 1970s. The tarantulas are seasoned with garlic and salt. The town of Coober Pedy in Australia is built almost entirely underground to escape the extreme desert heat. Its inhabitants live in cave houses that include churches and museums, and it is also the opal mining capital of the world. The bloop was an ultra-low frequency underwater sound detected by NOAA in 1997 in the Pacific Ocean. Although initially thought to be a monster, later studies determined that it was caused by the calving of a large iceberg. Singer Dolly Parton once lost a Dolly Parton impersonator contest at a drag bar where she participated incognito. Despite her exaggerated appearance, no one recognized her, and the judges decided that other men resembled her more than she did. The Amphicar 7070 was a German amphibious car from the 1960s designed to drive on roads and navigate water. It used its front wheels as a rudder and achieved fame when President Lyndon B. Johnson used it to scare his guests. The fungus Ophiocordyceps is capable of taking mental control of ants, forcing them to die in high places. This zombie fungus then sprouts from the insect's head, releasing spores to infect other members of the colony below. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs drove a Mercedes without license plates, taking advantage of a loophole in California law. He changed cars every 6 months to stay within the legal grace period, that allowed new vehicles to be driven without plates. The Hina Matsuri in Japan is a festival where families display ornamental dolls to bring health to their daughters. These dolls represent the imperial court and must be put away immediately after the festival to prevent the daughters from delaying marriage. The Messerschmitt KR-200 was a three-wheel bubble car designed by a company that previously manufactured fighter jets. Its cockpit opened to the side, similar to a military fighter jet, making it an economical transportation solution in the post-war era. On the Island of the Dead in Mexico, thousands of broken and old dolls hang from the trees to appease the soul of a little girl. Don Julian Santana began the collection after finding the child's body, turning the site into a macabre tourist attraction. Map scribbling is the practice of including non-existent towns, called trap towns, to detect plagiarism. A glow in New York became real after someone built a store on the exact spot where the fake map indicated the town. The Stout Scarab is considered the world's first minivan, inspired by the shape of a beetle and designed in 1930. It had a folding table inside and seats that could swivel, but its high price meant only 9 were ever made. The Verazah people in Madagascar practice famadihana, or bone turning, where they exhume their dead to dance. It is a joyful celebration where the shrouds of the ancestors are changed, and the family news is told to them before they are buried. The city of the dead in Russia is an ancient necropolis called Dargavs, with 99 stone tombs in the mountains. Locals avoided the site for fear of not returning alive, as plague victims were isolated there to die. The Reliant Robin is a three-wheeled vehicle famous for its instability and tendency to tip over on curves. In the UK, it could be driven with a motorcycle license, making it very popular with the working class. Christopher Walken worked as a lion tamer in a circus as a teenager before becoming an actor. He described the lioness as a big dog and says that the experience gave him the confidence to tackle any role. There is a rare phobia known as anuptophobia, which is the fear of being single or not finding a partner. This phobia can lead people to enter into unhealthy relationships simply to avoid being alone. In the 1950s, NASA experimented with a gelatin diet as space food. Gelatin was transparent and nutrients could be added, but it was rejected because it was too difficult to eat in zero gravity. The famous explorer Vasco da Gama was the first European to reach India by sailing around the Cape of Good Hope. His voyage opened a vital sea route that bypassed the dangerous overland routes controlled by Muslims. The Antikythera mechanism is a 2,000-year-old bronze analog computer found in a shipwreck. It was used to predict eclipses and the positions of celestial bodies, surpassing technological advancements of any invention for the next 1,000 years. In Switzerland, it is illegal to own a single guinea pig because they are considered social animals that suffer when alone. The law requires keeping at least 2, and there are guinea pig rental services available for when one of the pair dies and another is not desired. The BMW Isetta is distinguished by its single door located at the front of the vehicle, which turns the steering wheel. This design allowed it to be parked facing the curb in very tight spaces, a lifesaver for BMW during the economic crisis. Mike Tyson kept 3 real Bengal tigers at his mansion, spending thousands of dollars a month on their food. He even slept with them until one of the tigers lightly attacked him, making him realize they were uncontrollable predators. The Thaipusam festival in Malaysia involves devotees piercing their bodies with metal hooks and spears. They carry heavy structures called kavadis and claim to feel no pain due to a deep religious trance during the ritual. In the city of York, England, there is a law that allows archers to kill a Scotsman within the city limits, provided they do so with a bow and arrow and after midnight. The law is a historical relic and is no longer enforced. Vanablack is a lab-created material that absorbs 99 to 96% of light, resembling a real black hole. When an object is coated with it, the human eye loses the ability to perceive depth, seeing it as a flat, dark surface. The Ferrari 250 GTO is the most expensive car ever sold at auction, fetching over $70 million. Only 36 units were ever made, and it is considered by collectors to be the holy grail of sports and luxury automobiles. Japan has more than 5,000 vending machines that sell everything from hot coffee to umbrellas and underwear. Their popularity stems from the low rate of vandalism and the need for convenience in a society with long working hours. The writer Hunter S. Thompson requested that his ashes be fired from a giant cannon shaped like a two-thumb fist. His friend Johnny Depp financed the $3 million ceremony, fulfilling the author's last and extravagant wish. Esquimalt is known as Mexican caviar and consists of ant larvae extracted from the roots of the agave plant. They have a buttery texture and a nutty flavor and are a pre-Hispanic dish now served in the finest haute cuisine restaurants. The Rohank manuscript is a mysterious book that appeared in Hungary and that no one has been able to read or translate. Unlike the famous Voynich manuscript, it contains symbols from various religions mixed together, suggesting that it could be a secret code. There is a rare phobia known as chromatophobia, which is the fear of money. This phobia can manifest as a fear of touching banknotes and coins, or an irrational fear of wealth or poverty. The Plymouth Superbird was designed with a rear wing so high that it allowed the trunk to be opened without hitting the piece. It was created for NASCAR racing, and its aerodynamics were so advanced that it was quickly banned for being too fast and dangerous. Canada maintains a strategic reserve of maple syrup to stabilize global prices for this sweet product. In 2012, the Great Maple Syrup Heist occurred, in which thieves stole about 6,600,000 pounds of the product. The Kenamara Matsuri in Japan is a fertility festival featuring giant pink phallic sculptures. It attracts thousands of tourists, and the funds raised go toward research and prevention of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections. The sailing rocks of Death Valley are stones that move on their own, leaving long trails in the desert floor. The mystery was solved by discovering that thin layers of ice and gentle winds push them across the slippery mud at night. The magnetic North Pole does not align with the geographic North Pole. The magnetic North Pole is constantly moving and has been drifting at a speed of about 34 miles per year in recent years. Lake Hillier in Australia is famous for its vibrant, permanent pink color, which doesn't change even when bottled. The exact cause is the presence of the microalga Dunaliella salina, which survives in extremely high salinity conditions. Musician Paul McCartney is the most successful celebrity in music history. He has 32 songs that have reached #1 on the US charts, either with the Beatles or as a solo artist. Robert Wadlow was the tallest man in recorded history, reaching an impressive height of 8 feet 11 inches. His growth never stopped due to pituitary gland hyperplasia, requiring him to use crutches and specially made shoes. In San Marino, there are more registered vehicles than people living in the country due to its status as a tax haven. This tiny nation is the oldest republic in the world and has maintained its independence despite being completely surrounded by Italian territory. Bird's nest soup is an extremely expensive Chinese dish made literally from the hardened saliva of swiftlets. The nests are collected from caves and dissolved in water, creating a gelatinous texture believed to have medicinal and aphrodisiac properties. The L'Oeuf Electrique was an egg-shaped electric vehicle designed in 1942 during the Nazi occupation of France. Made of aluminum and plexiglass, it was extremely lightweight and was an artist's response to the wartime fuel shortage. The Palo de Mayo in Nicaragua is an extremely sensual and rhythmic dance that celebrates fertility and the arrival of rain. It is danced around a tree adorned with colorful ribbons, fusing African traditions with European influence in the Caribbean. Sourdough bread was very popular during the California Gold Rush of 1849. Miners often carried their starter in a pouch close to their bodies to keep the dough warm. The dancing plague incident of 1518 saw hundreds of people in Strasbourg dance non-stop for days. Many died of exhaustion or heart attacks, and to this day it remains unknown whether it was mass hysteria or ergot poisoning. Cotard's syndrome is a mental disorder in which the patient believes they are dead, do not exist, or that their organs are missing. Some sufferers even claim to smell rotten meat on their own bodies, requiring intensive therapy to reconnect with reality. The platypus is one of the few mammals that lays eggs and also possesses a venomous spur on its hind legs. It also has the ability to detect the electric fields of its prey underwater using special sensors located on its duck-like bill. The Ryugyong Hotel in North Korea is a 105-story pyramid-shaped skyscraper that stood empty for decades. Known as the Hotel of Doom, its construction was halted due to lack of funds, and for a long time, it was the tallest empty structure in the world. The Dybbuk box is a wine cabinet that supposedly contains an evil spirit from Jewish mythology. It went viral after a series of eBay auctions where owners reported horrific nightmares and poltergeist phenomena in their homes. The Vatican is the only country in the world with ATMs that display instructions entirely in Latin. This curious fact reflects the preservation of the sacred language in the world's smallest state, where Swiss guards protect the Pope and the official currency is the euro, despite not being a member of the European Union. In India, the Karni Mata temple is home to more than 25,000 black rats that are venerated and fed milk by monks and visitors who travel from afar. The rats are believed to be the reincarnations of the children of the deity Karni Mata, and seeing a white rat in the crowd is considered a rare and supreme blessing of good fortune. Diogenes of Sinope was a Greek philosopher who lived inside a large clay barrel and despised all the material comforts of the civilization of his time. He is said to have walked around with a lamp in broad daylight, looking for an honest man, and even asked Alexander the Great to step aside so as not to block the sunlight he was enjoying. The Shilin stone forest in China consists of limestone formations that resemble giant petrified trees created by erosion over 220 million years. Local legends say the forest is the birthplace of Ashima, a beautiful maiden who was turned to stone after being forbidden to marry the man she loved. The Panther 6 was a six-wheeled convertible manufactured in 1977 that was inspired by Formula One cars of the time and could reach the speeds of 199 miles per hour. It had an onboard telephone and an integrated television, extreme luxuries for the 1970s. But only 2 units were produced due to its exorbitant price. Salvador Dalí used to walk the streets of Paris with an anteater on a leash, claiming that common animals were too boring for a genius of his artistic caliber. He also demanded to be paid with drawings on the back of his checks, knowing that restaurant owners would never cash them in order to keep the artwork. Sanakji is a Korean dish consisting of freshly cut octopus tentacles that are still moving and have active suckers that can stick to the diner's throat. It is dangerous because the suckers can cause choking if not chewed properly before swallowing, resulting in several accidental deaths each year in Seoul. The star-nosed mole has 22 pink tentacles on its snout that move so fast they can touch and examine up to 13 different objects in a single second. This organ is the most sensitive tactile system of any mammal, allowing it to hunt small insects in the total darkness of its damp underground tunnels. The Dyatlov Pass incident involved the mysterious deaths of 9 Russian hikers who fled their tent in the middle of the night without adequate clothing in 1959. Their bodies showed severe internal fractures, but no external wounds, and some had unusual levels of radiation, generating decades of conspiracy theories. Bhutan is the only country in the world that is officially carbon negative, absorbing more carbon dioxide than it emits. This is because its constitution requires that at least 60% of the territory be covered by permanently protected forests. The Day of the Dead in Mexico is a holiday that blends indigenous and Catholic traditions to honor the deceased with colorful altars and sugar skulls. Far from being a somber event, it is a joyful celebration where it is believed that the souls return to enjoy the food and music they loved in life with their families. Actor Christopher Lee holds the record for the most screen appearances in film history, in addition to having been a real spy in World War II. He was fluent in 6 languages and recorded heavy metal albums after turning 90, demonstrating unparalleled vitality and a remarkable career. Balut is a popular dish in the Philippines consisting of a fertilized duck egg with a nearly formed embryo inside, which is boiled and eaten directly. Locals consider it a high source of protein and a potent aphrodisiac, drinking the broth first before consuming the feathered and soft-boned embryo. The DeLorean DMC-12 was made famous by the movie Back to the Future, but its unpainted stainless steel body was a true innovation that required no maintenance. Its gull-wing doors needed very little lateral space to open, although the car was an initial commercial failure before becoming an icon. Rainbow eucalyptus trees have bark that peels off at different times, revealing inner layers of bright green, blue, purple, orange, and brown. This phenomenon makes the trunk appear hand-painted in neon colors. Native to the Philippines and Indonesia, they are a natural visual spectacle. The great inventor Nikola Tesla had an obsession with pigeons and claimed to be in love with a specific white dove. He believed the bird sent him messages, and his fixation on the number 3 compelled him to walk around a building 3 times. Director Alfred Hitchcock had an extreme phobia of eggs, technically known as ovophobia, and never ate them. He claimed that the sight of a cracking egg was the most disgusting thing in the world, preferring to avoid any food containing them. Vesna Vulovic holds the Guinness World Record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute after her plane exploded. She fell from about 3,300 feet and survived because she was caught in a section of the tail that landed on snow at an ideal angle. In Vietnam, snake wine is prepared by submerging a whole cobra or scorpion in a bottle of rice wine. The ethanol denatures the venom, making it safe to drink, and it is traditionally used as a tonic to improve health and vigor. The General Motors Firebird looked more like a fighter jet on wheels than a car, with wings and a glass canopy. It had a gas turbine engine and was a futuristic design experiment that never went into mass production due to its impracticality. In India, the Lathmar Holi festival includes a tradition where women hit men with wooden sticks. The men must protect themselves with shields as they are chased, all within a colorful and festive atmosphere. There is a rare phobia known as pteronophobia, which is the fear of being tickled with a feather. It is often related to a traumatic event or extreme skin sensitivity. The self-owning tree in Georgia, USA, legally owns the land it occupies and 8 feet around it. The original owner granted it the deed out of love for the white oak, and the city has respected this will since the early 19th century. Foreign accent syndrome occurs after brain damage, causing the person to speak with a different accent. Although it may seem like a joke, the patient cannot control it, changing intonation patterns in ways that mimic a language they don't know. The pistol shrimp snaps its claw so fast that it creates a cavitation bubble that reaches the temperature of the sun's surface. The snap produces a sonic shock wave that instantly stuns its prey, making it one of the loudest sounds in the ocean. The Kowloon-walled city was the most densely populated place on Earth before its demolition in 1993. A single block of buildings housed 33,000 people, creating a sunlight-deprived labyrinth ruled by triads and without any government oversight. The Hope Diamond is famous not only for its deep blue color, but also for a supposed curse that haunts its owners. From beheaded kings to ruined families, The jewel has passed through tragic hands before being donated to the Smithsonian Museum by mail. The Principality of Sealand is a micronation located on a former sea shelf in the North Sea, off the coast of the United Kingdom. Although not officially recognized by the UN, it issues its own passports, stamps, and currency, and has survived attempted invasions and legal disputes since its proclamation in 1967. Yanar Dag in Azerbaijan is a hillside that burns perpetually with flames about 10 feet high, fueled by natural methane gas leaks. Ancient followers of Zoroastrianism considered this fire sacred, and the site attracts tourists today who watch the flames never go out, even in rain or snow. Emperor Norton was originally a San Francisco resident who in 1859 proclaimed himself Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico. Despite his madness, the city loved him, accepted his own printed currency, and newspapers published his imperial decrees, including one ordering the construction of a bridge between the city and Oakland. The underground city of Derinkuyu in Turkey could house 2,000 people and their supplies, spread across 18 levels carved into soft volcanic rock. It was rediscovered in 1963 when a man knocked down a wall in its basement, revealing a complex system of ventilation shafts, stables, and Christian churches. The Covini C6W is another Italian six-wheeled car that did reach limited production in 2004, arguing that four front wheels improve braking and grip. The technology reduces the risk of hydroplaning and punctures at high speeds, offering a visual design that looks like it came straight out of a retro science fiction film. Director Werner Herzog fulfilled a bet to eat his own shoe after losing a challenge to filmmaker Errol Morris about the completion of one of his early films. He boiled the shoe with garlic and spices for hours in front of a camera, documenting the act to demonstrate that men should always keep their word. Huitlacoche is a fungus that grows on corn and is considered a delicacy in Mexican cuisine, although in other countries it is treated as a destructive agricultural pest. Its flavor is smoky and its appearance is jet black, which has earned it the nickname Mexican truffle, and it is a key ingredient in quesadillas and fine soups. The emerald wasp performs precise brain surgery on cockroaches, injecting venom at an exact point to nullify their escape reflex without killing them. The wasp then guides the zombie cockroach to its nest by pulling on its antennae, where it lays an egg on it so that the larva can eat it alive from the inside. Flight 19 was a group of 5 American bombers that disappeared without a trace over the Bermuda Triangle in 1945 during a training mission. Even the rescue plane that went to look for them disappeared as well, fueling the myth that the area possesses magnetic anomalies or portals to other dimensions. The photic sneeze reflex is a genetic anomaly that causes some people to sneeze uncontrollably when suddenly exposed to bright sunlight. It is estimated to affect 25% of the world's population and is due to a confusion of signals between the optic nerve and the trigeminal nerve within the human brain. France spans the most time zones in the world, with a total of 12 different time zones. This is not due to its size in Europe, but to its numerous overseas territories scattered across the globe's oceans, surpassing even geographical giants like Russia or the United States in time zone diversity. The haka is a traditional Maori war dance from New Zealand that has become world famous thanks to the national rugby team, the All Blacks. The dance uses vigorous movements, stomping feet, and aggressive facial expressions to intimidate the opponent and demonstrate the strength, unity, and pride of the warrior's identity. Charlie Chaplin once participated in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest at a San Francisco theater and, surprisingly, came in third place. The judges didn't realize it was the real actor, who had decided to enter for fun to see if his appearance and movements were as iconic as he thought at the time. Kimchi is a Korean fermented food made primarily from cabbage and spices. It's so vital to the culture that South Korea sent a version into outer space. This dish has thousands of varieties and is consumed at almost every meal, being famous for its probiotics that aid digestion and strengthen the immune system. The Tucker 48 was a revolutionary car that included a third central headlight that rotated with the steering wheel to illuminate the road around curves before the car turned. Only 51 units were manufactured due to pressure from large Detroit companies, making it one of the most valuable and sought-after collector cars today. The narwhal is known as the unicorn of the sea because of its long spiraled tusk, which is actually a tooth that can grow up to about 10 feet long. This tooth is filled with nerve endings that allow the animal to detect changes in the temperature and salinity of the water in the Arctic depths. The scarab beetle on Tutankhamun's breastplate is made of yellow silica glass formed by a meteorite impact in the Sahara Desert millions of years ago. The ancient Egyptians considered this desert glass a divine gemstone, unaware that its origin was literally the collision of a celestial body. The Flatwoods Monster was a supposed extraterrestrial creature seen in 1952 in West Virginia after a bright object fell to Earth, releasing a strange red mist. Witnesses described an about 10-foot-tall being with a head shaped like the ace of spades, leaving researchers at the time confused between hysteria and reality. The Emu War was a real conflict in 1932, where the Australian Army used machine guns to try to control a plague of these birds that were destroying farms. Surprisingly, the emus won the war by dispersing quickly, causing soldiers to waste thousands of bullets without significantly reducing the population. Ethiopia uses a unique calendar with 13 months in a year, which puts the country 7 to 8 years behind the rest of the world. This difference is due to their adherence to the Orthodox Church calendar, celebrating the New Year in September and maintaining ancestral traditions that were not altered by the Gregorian system. The Sami people of Northern Europe have more than 100 different words to describe snow, depending on its texture, density, purity, and how easy it is to travel on. This linguistic precision is vital for survival in the Arctic and for reindeer herding, demonstrating how the natural environment profoundly shapes a people's language. The Baghdad Battery is a collection of terracotta, copper, and iron artifacts from the Parthian period that suggest the ancients may have known simple electroplating. Although debated, experiments have shown that lemon juice could have generated a small electric current to coat jewelry with layers of fine gold. The FSO Serena Sport was a 1960 Polish prototype considered one of the most beautiful cars of the communist era, with a fiberglass body and sporty design. Sadly, the government ordered its destruction, deeming it too bourgeois for socialist ideals, thus becoming a legend of automotive design. The Pando trees in Utah are technically a single massive living organism that shares a connected root system for thousands of trees that appear as separate individuals. Estimated to be over 8,000 years old, it is one of the oldest and heaviest living things on the planet, though it is currently threatened by overgrazing. Nicolas Cage once spent a fortune buying a real Tyrannosaurus skull, outbidding Leonardo DiCaprio at auction to acquire the prehistoric artifact. He later had to return the skull to the Mongolian government when it was discovered that it had been stolen and smuggled out of the country by fossil traffickers. The Great Blue in Belize is a giant sinkhole in the middle of the reef that plunges over 394 feet and contains stalactites that prove it was once a dry cave. Explored by Jacques Cousteau, its crystal-clear waters conceal a unique ecosystem where sharks patrol the dark walls of submerged limestone. The U.S. Army once trained pigeons to guide missiles to their targets, using internal displays where the birds pecked at an image of an enemy ship. This project was led by psychologist B.F. Skinner, and although it worked well in tests, it was canceled for being considered too ridiculous at the time. Jupiter is so large that all the other planets in our solar system could fit inside it, with room to spare for hundreds more moons. Its Great Red Spot is a massive storm larger than Earth itself and has been active for at least 400 years, according to astronomical observations. Wi-Fi uses spread-spectrum technology, originally patented by actress Hedy Lamarr during World War II to prevent torpedo sabotage. Her invention laid the foundation for all modern wireless communications, demonstrating that scientific talent can come from the most unexpected quarters of fame. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein when she was just 18, after a challenge with friends during a rainy summer in Switzerland to see who could write the best horror story. Her work not only created the modern science fiction genre, but also explored ethical dilemmas about scientific creation and responsibility that are still debated today. Pablo Picasso's Guernica was painted as a protest against the bombing of the Basque town during the Spanish Civil War, using only black, white, and shades of gray. When a Nazi officer saw the work and asked if he had done it, Picasso replied, "No, you did," turning the painting into a cry against war. Your nose can remember up to 5,000 different scents and is directly connected to the region of the brain that processes memory and emotions at a very deep level. This is why a specific smell can instantly transport you back to a childhood memory with a clarity that no other human sense can ever replicate. An ostrich's eye is larger than its brain, giving it excellent panoramic vision, but also explaining its behavior, which is based almost purely on instinct. They are the largest and fastest birds on land, capable of killing a lion with a single powerful kick if they feel cornered or threatened by a voracious predator. The carpenter bee is a solitary insect that does not live in hives and has the ability to excavate perfect tunnels in solid wood to lay its eggs and pollen. Unlike the common honeybee, these are peaceful and pollinate flowers that other insects cannot, making them essential to the health of many local ecosystems. In Thailand, it is a serious offense to step on a banknote or coin bearing the king's image, as it is considered a direct insult to the monarchy, which is revered throughout the country. Since feet are viewed as the dirtiest part of the body in their culture, using them to touch the sovereign's face can land you in prison for several years. The Santa Fe staircase in New Mexico is a carpentry mystery, built without nails or a central support, held upright solely by its spiral design. Legend has it that an unknown carpenter appeared, built it, and left without payment, leaving behind a structure that modern engineers still admire for its balance. The Wright brothers made the first powered flight in history in 1903, which lasted only 12 seconds and covered a distance shorter than the length of a modern commercial airliner. This flight at Kitty Hawk changed the world forever, even though many newspapers at the time didn't believe the story and refused to publish it, deeming it a hoax. The Panama Canal uses a system of locks that raises ships about 85 feet above sea level, so they can cross the continent via the artificial Gatun Lake. This feat of engineering saves weeks of travel around Cape Horn, moving more than 14,000 ships a year on one of the most vital trade routes. Space elevators are being designed that would use carbon nanotube cables to transport cargo and people from Earth to an orbiting station without rockets. While it sounds like science fiction, theoretical physics says it's possible, which would drastically reduce the cost of space exploration and the colonization of other worlds. There are more ways to shuffle a 52-card deck than there are atoms on our entire planet Earth, meaning that every time you shuffle well, the order is unique in universal history. The probability of someone else having had the same card order as you at any point in existence is virtually zero, due to the sheer magnitude of the numbers. Humans share 50% of their DNA with bananas, proving that all life on Earth comes from a common ancestor that diverged eons ago. Despite our physical differences, the basic processes in our cells are identical to those in plants, connecting us to the great universal tree of life. Monoway, a village in Nebraska, has a population of exactly one person, 84-year-old Elsie Eiler. She is the mayor, librarian, and bartender, taxing herself to keep the streetlights on. Adam Rayner is the only person in recorded history who was legally considered both a dwarf and a giant. At 18, he was 4 feet 4 inches tall, but a tumor caused a growth spurt that led him to reach 7 feet 2 inches at the time of his death. Big-bottomed ants are a delicacy in the Santander region of Colombia, eaten roasted and salted like peanuts. They are harvested only during the rainy season and are believed to have healing properties, in addition to being a high source of protein. The Zundap Janus had seats that faced both forward and rearward, with doors located at the front and rear. Rear passengers faced the traffic behind them, giving the car the name of the Roman god of 2 opposing faces. The finger cutting of the Dani tribe in Indonesia was a practice where women amputated 1 finger for each deceased relative. They believed this physical sacrifice appeased the spirits of the dead, although the practice has recently been banned by the government. Drapa stones are stone discs supposedly found in China that contain inscriptions about spacecraft. Although many believe it to be a hoax, the story of small beings landing in the mountains remains a cornerstone of the UFO phenomenon. Phineas Gage survived an accident in which an iron bar pierced his skull, destroying part of his frontal lobe. His personality changed drastically, becoming a pivotal case study in understanding how different areas of the brain control behavior. Dolphins give each other specific names using unique whistles that function as individual identity tags. They can recognize these whistles even after decades of separation, demonstrating one of the most complex social structures in the world. The village of Hallstatt in China is an exact, brick-for-brick replica of a famous historic Austrian village. It was built by a mining company in Guangdong province as a luxury residential complex, even copying the church in town square. The Codex Gigas is known as the Devil's Bible because of a giant illustration of Satan on one of its pages. Legend says that a monk wrote it in a single night with the devil's help to avoid execution for breaking his vows. On North Sentinel Island, India, lives one of the world's last tribes that remains completely isolated from modern civilization. Due to their aggression toward any outsiders, the Indian government has prohibited approaching within about 6 miles of the island to protect both visitors and the tribe. In Thailand, the Lopburi Monkey Feast Festival is held annually, serving tons of fresh fruits and vegetables to thousands of long-tailed macaques. Locals believe that feeding the monkeys brings good luck to the town and its inhabitants, paying homage to the mythological hero Hanuman and his army of loyal apes. The Antikythera mechanism contained more than 30 bronze gears and is considered by scientists to be the first computer in history. Its design allowed it to predict the positions of known planets and lunar eclipses with pinpoint accuracy decades in advance. The Terrafugia Transition is a vehicle capable of traveling on roads and deploying wings in less than a minute to take off from any local airport or suitable airstrip. It runs on car fuel and fits in a standard garage, marking one of the most serious and successful attempts to create a commercial flying car to date. Bill Murray is known for showing up unannounced at strangers' parties or for snatching a French fry from a stranger in a restaurant and whispering, "No one will believe you." These anecdotes have created a myth around the actor, who doesn't have an agent and only accepts job offers through a secret voicemail number. Natto is a Japanese food made from fermented soybeans that has an extremely sticky texture and a very strong smell, reminiscent of old cheese or socks. It is usually eaten for breakfast mixed with rice and egg, and is famous for its cardiovascular health benefits, despite being an acquired taste for many tourists. In Afghanistan, kangina is an ancient technique for preserving fresh grapes for up to 6 months. Clay and straw containers are buried to maintain a cool environment. It is a sustainable way to enjoy out-of-season fruit. In the arid Tarim Basin in China, a surprisingly well-preserved mummy was found, the Beauty of Lulan. She lived millennia ago and was naturally preserved thanks to the dry, salty climate. Unlike Egyptian mummies, this one was mummified by accident. In Poznan, Poland, the Post-9 Ice Festival transforms the market square into a frozen stage. Artists from around the world carve sculptures from blocks of ice in front of the public. It's an unmissable visual experience that attracts both locals and tourists. Continuing with modern trends, there's an experiment that has bus drivers pedaling bicycles while a bus passes nearby. This allows them to experience firsthand how dangerous it is not to respect the distance from cyclists. In the arts, Tanya Gomelskaya stands out, an artist who fuses painting and sculpture to create three-dimensional works. Her pieces leap off the canvas, explore emotions like anxiety, and play with surreal textures. In motorcycle safety, there's a helmet windshield wiper. This small, electric, and rechargeable device removes water from the visor and improves visibility in adverse weather conditions. Technology has also reached body art with LED tattoos. These luminous designs use microcircuits and sensors to interact with the body, responding to movements or heart rate, and are emerging as both aesthetic and medical tools. Pure adrenaline is experienced in the sphere of death, where motorcyclists perform stunts inside a spherical metal structure. Thanks to centrifugal force, they defy gravity as they cross paths without colliding. Meet Benjamin Shine, an artist who works magic with tulle. His sculptures and portraits are born from the simple folding and ironing of fabric, exploring themes such as energy and spirituality. He has collaborated with Maison Margiela and exhibited in museums around the world. The CH-47 Chinook is a twin-rotor military helicopter with an astonishing payload capacity, up to about 22,000 pounds. Ideal for transporting troops and equipment across difficult terrain. More curiosities. The Janus tortoise, which has two heads, was born with a condition called bicephaly. Although they share a shell, both heads can act independently. Its name comes from the two-faced Roman god. Adriana Macias, a Mexican speaker and writer born without arms, is a true inspiration. She uses her feet to perform everyday tasks and motivates others with her message of overcoming adversity, empowerment, and self-love. And speaking of photography, Claudio Piccoli is an Italian photographer who specializes in capturing dogs in motion. Internationally recognized, he shares images full of energy and emotion. He also teaches his technique through workshops and online courses. At the crossroads of culture and pop art, the Pokémon X Koge exhibition unites the Pokémon universe with traditional Japanese techniques, ceramics, textiles, and metalwork combined with Pikachu and friends. The result is a fusion of the contemporary and the ancestral that celebrates Japanese creativity. Returning to the animal kingdom, the teacup pig is a miniature version of traditional pigs. Weighing no more than about 66 pounds, they win hearts with their cuteness. They are intelligent and trainable, but require special care to maintain their health and well-being. From West Africa, the Zarpado dance blends the spiritual with the artistic. These traditional guardians spin in conical straw costumes, completely concealing the person who embodies them. Their dances, accompanied by ceremonial music, inspire respect and mystery. And we conclude with the Abode of the Gods, located in Cusco, Peru. This sculptural space pays tribute to the Inca worldview, with monumental figures carved in stone. Created by the artist Michael de Titan, it unites contemporary art with the mystical landscapes of the Andes. In the automotive world, Luis Rodriguez, a fan from New Jersey, created a life-size Hot Wheels car to celebrate the brand's 50th anniversary. It took him over a year to build the body entirely by hand. Did you know that cloud waterfalls exist? This phenomenon occurs when cold winds push low clouds toward the edge of a mountain, causing them to cascade down like waterfalls of steam. Speaking of useful automatons, the AxiDraw is a robot that writes or draws by mimicking your own handwriting. It only needs precise instructions and is perfect for signing checks or diplomas. Continuing with visual oddities, what looks like a cracked tongue is actually a condition called fissured tongue. It doesn't cause pain or become contagious, but the cracks can vary greatly in shape and depth. Nicky Jam bought a private island to build a house where the only access is by seaplane. He owns a collection of customized Jeep Wrangler vehicles to drive on sand, each one in a different matte color. He went from living on the street to becoming a mogul with claustrophobia. His eccentricity is space. He needs vast stretches of land and sea to feel free after his difficult years. The world's smallest dog is a Chihuahua that stands only about 3.5 inches tall. It fits perfectly in the palm of a hand and requires special care to avoid injuries from everyday objects. This unusual achievement in miniature breeding broke the record of the canine biological scale. It shows how genetics and selection can push domestic fauna to astonishing extremes. Abebe Bikila won the Olympic marathon in Rome in 1960, running completely barefoot. He chose to remove his shoes because they did not fit well and preferred to feel the pavement under his bare feet. He became the first African to win an Olympic gold medal. His feat proved that human will and pure biology can overcome any expensive technological equipment. The platypus is such a strange animal that scientists in the 18th century believed it was a hoax. It is a mammal that lays eggs, has a duckbill, a beaver tail, and venomous spurs on its hind legs. This oddly designed creature is also biofluorescent, glowing under ultraviolet light. The Ulysses Nardin Royal Blue Tourbillon wristwatch appears to float in midair. Its bridges and plates are made of transparent sapphire, allowing the gears to be seen as if they were not attached. This invention, valued at $1 million, includes diamonds and blue sapphires that imitate the depth of the ocean. The Sparrow Monster G vehicle was equipped with tires from a Boeing 747 to cross the desert. Its four-wheel drive system and its Mercedes engine of about 390 cubic inches made it capable of climbing dunes that look like vertical walls. This unusual vehicle included a small motorcycle in the trunk for emergencies. Wilt Chamberlain claimed in his autobiography to have slept with 2,000 women. Although the number is mathematically improbable, it became part of his legend of excess off the court. He scored 100 points in a single NBA game in 1962. His life was a mix of absolute physical dominance in sports and an insatiable search for social validation. Dinner in the Sky lifts 22 diners to about 164 feet in the air using a crane. Guests eat with their feet dangling while a chef prepares gourmet dishes on a suspended platform. This dining experience has taken place in front of the Eiffel Tower and the pyramids of Egypt. It is an event where vertigo and flavor mix, turning dinner into an act of aerial engineering. Gloria Trevi demands that the mirrors in her dressing rooms be tilted at a specific angle. She believes the way light hits her face affects her mood and the strength she will project while singing. She also asked for sandalwood incense to be burning hours before her arrival. Ortolan is a French tradition where a small bird is eaten whole in a single bite. The diner must cover their head with a napkin while eating to hide the shame before God for such an act. This practice is currently banned because the species is protected. The Damaxian vehicle by Buckminster Fuller had 3 wheels in the shape of a giant water droplet. It could carry 11 people and turn on its own axis because the rear wheel handled steering. This unusual car was designed with the idea that it could eventually fly. Although few were made, it remains a symbol of visionary engineering focused on total efficiency. Robert Wadlow remains the tallest man in history at about 8 feet 11 inches. He needed custom-made shoes nearly 1.5 feet long and consumed 8,000 calories per day to survive. This man, known as the Giant of Illinois, never stopped growing due to a pituitary condition. His kindness and height turned him into a global celebrity, leaving a physical legacy still unmatched. The Quimbaya treasure is a set of gold figures found in Colombia shaped like airplanes. Although they were created about 1,500 years ago, they feature wing stabilizers and tail rudders that are fully functional. These relics have been tested in wind tunnels. They represent a mystery about whether pre-Columbian cultures understood aerodynamics before modern science. Jacob & Co. Astronomia is a high-end watch featuring a planetary system. Inside a sapphire crystal dome, A carousel rotates, showing Earth, the Moon, and a diamond sun. This invention, valued at more than $1 million, uses a three-axis tourbillon to counteract gravity. It is a technological marvel that allows the wearer to carry a kinetic model of the solar system on their wrist. Howard Hughes spent the last years of his life locked inside a hotel suite without seeing daylight. He had a fear of germs, cut his nails once a year, and stored his own urine in glass jars. This eccentric figure was once one of the most powerful men in aviation. The Frozen Haute chocolate costs $25,000 and contains edible 24-karat gold. It is served in a crystal goblet lined with gold and comes with a diamond spoon that the customer can keep. This dessert is sold in New York and holds the Guinness record for the most expensive dessert. It is the ultimate expression of luxury, where value lies not in taste, but in the precious materials consumed. Shizo Kanekuri holds the record for the slowest marathon at 54 years, 8 months and 6 days. He disappeared during the race at the Olympic Games of 1912 after being invited to tea by a Swedish family and falling asleep. He returned to Sweden decades later to finish the race at 75 years old. San Marino is the oldest constitutional republic in the world, founded in the year 301. It is completely surrounded by Italy and has one of the highest rates of vehicle ownership. It has never lost its independence across centuries of history. Haptic holograms allow users to touch and feel objects made only of light. They use ultrasonic waves to create pressure in the air that the brain interprets as solid physical texture. This technology removes the need for physical touchscreens. It is the next step in display technology, allowing interaction with the digital world without gloves. The journey of the Parker Solar Probe is the first mission to successfully touch the sun's corona. It travels at about 428,000 miles per hour, making it the fastest object ever built by humans. This astonishing mission, designed to withstand temperatures of about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, seeks to understand the solar wind. It uses an advanced carbon heat shield to protect its instruments from extreme heat. The treasure of Attila consists of 23 finely crafted gold vessels. They feature inscriptions and a unique alphabet that linguists still cannot fully translate. This rare object, found in Transylvania, shows scenes of nomadic warriors carrying prisoners by the hair. It is a key piece for understanding the art of the barbarian tribes that challenged the Roman Empire during its fall. The Alphabet of Death is a literary work engraved on a microscopic grain of gold. To read its pages, a high-power electron microscope in a laboratory is required. The work pushes the limits of printing and microtechnology. It represents the union of classical literature and precision engineering in the age of nanotechnology. Ferran Adrià closed his restaurant El Bulli, despite it being the best in the world to focus on research. His molecular cuisine transformed liquids into spheres and foams, permanently changing modern gastronomy. He did not allow customers to choose the menu, imposing his artistic vision. He revolutionized the act of eating, turning it into a sensory experiment where nothing was what it seemed. Empress Sissi of Austria had the eccentric habit of washing her hair with a mixture of cognac and egg. The process lasted an entire day, and her hair was so long and heavy that it caused chronic headaches. She slept with raw meat mass on her face. Her life was a constant struggle to preserve eternal youth in a court that emotionally suffocated her. The sport of hurling is one of the fastest in the world and has been played in Ireland for 3,000 years. Players use a wooden stick called a hurley to strike a leather ball at speeds over 93 miles per hour across the field. It is a mix of hockey, soccer, and ancient clan warfare. Ozzy Osbourne once bit the head off a live bat during a concert. He thought it was a rubber toy thrown by a fan, but ended up in the hospital to receive rabies shots. He turned the accident into a rock legend. It was the moment that defined his career as the most unpredictable and wild artist in the global music scene. The Messerschmitt KR 200 vehicle was a bubble car designed by a German aircraft manufacturer. Its plexiglass canopy opened to the side, and passengers sat one behind the other like in a fighter plane. It lacked a mechanical reverse gear in its original engine. It was a creative transportation solution after the Second World War, when military aviation was banned. Sridhar Chilal spent 66 years letting the fingernails on his left hand grow. His thumbnail alone reached nearly 6 feet in length, curling around itself in a shocking way. This unusual man finally cut them in the year 2018 so they could be preserved in a museum. The Table of Solomon is a legendary object said to grant wisdom. It was part of the treasure of Jerusalem, and legends claim the Visigoths hid it somewhere near Toledo in Spain. It was made of pure gold and precious stones. Its search has inspired explorers who believe it still lies hidden in underground chambers. The Haldeman HE1 wristwatch is a unique piece whose tourbillon is centered above the hands. It was designed as a moving mechanical sculpture, prioritizing aesthetics over easy time reading. This invention, valued at $180,000, is considered one of the peaks of independent Swiss watchmaking. Shaquille O'Neal shattered so many glass backboards that the NBA was forced to reinforce basketball hoops. His weight of about 324 pounds and his raw power caused steel structures to collapse after his most aggressive dunks. This forced changes in the engineering standards of modern arenas. Daniel Day-Lewis is famous for never leaving his character for months, even off set. While filming Lincoln, he sent text messages to fellow actors, written in 19th century language. For the last of the Mohicans, he learned to hunt and live in the wilderness. He is considered one of the most intense actors, preferring the complete disappearance of his real self in favor of the role. Daddy Yankee has an obsession with white athletic shoes, wearing a brand new pair every day. He cannot tolerate stains or creases, so he gives away the shoes after a single workday. He also travels with a team that cleans his jewelry every morning using special solutions. Salma Hayek has the eccentric habit of rescuing dozens of animals, including owls, peacocks, and dogs. She has had more than 30 pets in her home, claiming she can communicate with them in an almost spiritual way. During a humanitarian mission in Africa, she once breastfed a hungry baby. Cyclist Egan Bernal often trains while eating guava and cheese snacks, a traditional diet of Colombian riders. Despite access to the most advanced sports nutrition in the world, he prefers flavors that remind him of his roots. He celebrates victories by returning to his hometown to eat at ordinary street food stalls. The Sparrow Monster vehicle is an off-road machine with massive aircraft-style truck wheels and a Mercedes-Benz engine. It was designed for desert use by a sheikh, allowing it to climb dunes impossible for other cars. It features a heavily reinforced chassis of enormous size. El Salvador became the first nation in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. It built an experimental community called Bitcoin Beach and uses volcanic energy to mine cryptocurrency. The country seeks to attract digital investors from across the globe. Photon teleportation has been achieved by scientists between Earth and space. It does not move physical matter, but instead transfers the quantum state of a particle instantly to another. This allows communication systems that are impossible to hack. The astonishing journey of the Kon-Tiki 2 expedition attempted to repeat the feat of 1947 using 2 rafts. Scientists aim to collect data on microplastic pollution in the center of the Pacific Ocean. The voyage had to be aborted after 114 days due to extreme weather. The Nabra disk is the oldest known representation of the night sky. It is a bronze circle with gold inlays showing the sun, the moon, and the Pleiades stars. It functioned as a complex agricultural calendar 3,600 years ago. It proves that Bronze Age societies in Europe had highly sophisticated astronomical knowledge. Cent Thousand Billion Poems is an unusual work containing 10,000 billion possible poems. Its pages are cut into strips, allowing readers to combine verses endlessly according to preference. Created by Raymond Queneau, this work would take centuries to read completely if every combination were attempted. Lab-grown meat allows people to eat real steaks without killing animals. Cow or chicken cells are grown in bioreactors, creating muscle tissue identical to that of a living animal. This technology seeks to eliminate the cruelty of massive industrial farming. It promises a future where living wildlife is respected while humanity keeps its traditional diet. The deep-sea anglerfish uses a glowing light on its head to hunt. It lives about 9,800 feet below the ocean's surface, where pressure would crush a steel tank, yet its body is nearly pure water. It hunts in total darkness, luring prey toward its giant mouth. The book Animals in Translation by Temple Grandin explains how cows and dogs think. Grandin, who is autistic, uses her visual thinking to understand why animals fear shadows or noises. Her work has revolutionized the treatment of animals on farms and in homes around the world. Mike Tyson confessed that his favorite pigeon died in his arms after a long illness. He cried for days and gave it a flower-covered burial, saying the bird was his only connection to innocence. He prefers the company of birds over celebrities. His life shows how animals can heal a man trained for combat. Ronaldinho once rented out his own mansion in Rio de Janeiro through Airbnb. The price was $15,000 per night, and the contract included the chance that guests might meet him in the garden. He has always viewed his properties as entertainment hubs. Belinda is known for her specific demands for mineral water from French springs. It is said she requires armored vehicles and escorts for travel between her hotel and event venues. She also has a fascination with luxury accessories inspired by anime. The Propulsor Sur tracked vehicle was designed to cross the French Alps over deep snow. It used a leather belt with wooden cleats instead of tires to gain traction on slopes. It was tested by the military before the First World War. Jonathan the tortoise is the oldest known living land animal at 192 years old. This giant Seychelles tortoise has lived on the island of St. Helena since the mid-19th century. He has lived through 40 United States presidents. His longevity remains a mystery to biologists studying reptile aging. The mask of Agamemnon is a solid gold funerary relic that covered the face of a king. It was found in Mycenae and was once believed to belong to the Greek leader of the Trojan War described in the Iliad. It is so detailed it shows facial hair and human ears. Although older than the real Agamemnon, it remains the ultimate symbol of Mycenaean gold and warrior power. The Vacheron Constantin 57260 wristwatch is the most complex portable object ever made. It features 57 complications, including a full Hebrew calendar and a double split-seconds chronograph. Valued at $8 million, it is the size of a pocket watch and contains 2,800 internal parts. The Kalani truck is a futuristic vehicle with a rounded cabin and a triple windshield wiper. Designed by Luigi Kalani, it sought perfect aerodynamics by imitating the fluid shapes of nature. It reduces fuel consumption by 30%. Estonia became the first nation to allow citizens to vote online in the year 2005. Nearly all public services are digital, allowing companies to be created in minutes from a phone. It also offers virtual residency to people from anywhere in the world. Liquid light made from condensed polaritons is a state of matter that flows without friction. Researchers managed to make light behave like a liquid that moves around obstacles without creating shadows. This allows information to travel at the speed of light. It promises processors that do not overheat and are thousands of times faster than silicon. The Rosetta mission achieved the milestone of landing a probe on the surface of a comet. After traveling 10 years through space, the Philae probe anchored itself to Comet 67P as it moved toward the Sun. It provided clues about the origin of water. It marked the first time humanity chased and touched a wandering celestial body at extreme speeds. The Quimbaya treasure contains gold figurines representing seated chiefs. The surface finish is so smooth, it appears to have been polished with invisible modern laser technology. This rare object uses the lost wax technique with astonishing precision. The Tsar tank was a Russian First World War tank with wheels about 30 feet tall. It looked like a giant tricycle designed to roll over trenches, but became easily stuck in mud. It was abandoned in the forest due to its uselessness. It remains a reminder that military experimentation can produce designs that defy practical logic. Freddie Mercury had a luxury stable built for the horses at his mansion. Despite being a rock icon, he found peace in horseback riding and animal care. He treated his horses with the same devotion he gave his cats. His private life contrasted the roar of stadiums with the silence of his personal farm. Edgar Ramirez has the eccentric habit of collecting antique watches that once belonged to historical figures. He searches auctions for pieces with stories of human struggle beyond the material value of gold or silver. He says wearing a watch once owned by someone who fought gives him strength for his own challenges. Iceland has the oldest continuously active parliament in the world, founded in the year 930 AD. The country does not use traditional surnames. Children take their father's name followed by son or daughter. Iceland publishes more books per capita than any other nation. It is a place where Viking tradition blends with a modern liberal and highly technological society. Three-dimensional bioprinting allows the creation of living human organs from cells. Scientists have successfully printed ears, skin, and small heart patches that function after being transplanted. This technology uses a special biogel as ink. It promises a future where damaged organs are replaced with perfect copies made from the patient's own cells. Nikola Tesla's Columbus egg was a device designed to explain electrical induction. A metal egg spun on a wooden table and stood upright without being touched using magnetic fields. This strange object astonished scientists of its time. Tesla used it to demonstrate that alternating current was the future of global electrical power. Tini Stoessel requires that her dressing room always contains a bag of gummy candy from a specific brand. She claims the sugar from these sweets is the only thing that gives her the explosive energy needed for high-impact choreography. She also travels with her own LED light makeup mirror. Alexis Sanchez runs Instagram accounts dedicated exclusively to his two dogs, Adam and Humber. He flies them on private jets and buys them designer clothing, treating them like children or movie stars. He says his dogs are the only ones who understand him after a defeat. Larissa Riquelme became famous for keeping her cell phone tucked in her cleavage during the World Cup of 2010. After that event, she patented the idea and launched a clothing line with hidden pockets in that area. She turned a casual gesture into a long, lasting advertising empire. Louis Pugh, known as the Iceman, swims in the freezing waters of the North Pole. He wears only a standard swimsuit to raise awareness about glacier melting caused by climate change. He can raise his body temperature through mental control. His swims are diplomatic missions meant to protect the most pristine and fragile oceans on Earth. The reliquary of the Holy Blood in Bruges is a 1,000-year-old glass vial. It is said to contain cloth threads soaked with the blood of Christ brought back after the Second Crusade. This rare object attracts thousands of pilgrims who swear they see the substance liquefy. The Republic of Molossia is a self-declared micronation located within Nevada in the United States. It has its own time zone currency called the Valora and a post office that does not accept foreign stamps. It has been ruled by President Kevin Baugh since the year 1977. The standard of Ur is a wooden box about 4,500 years old decorated with mosaics. It shows scenes of war and peace from ancient Mesopotamia using shell red stone and blue lapis lazuli. It is the earliest known visual record of an organized army. The Lada Riva is one of the most produced cars in history with essentially the same design. Built in the Soviet Union, its square, simple structure allowed it to survive the harshest Russian climates. It became the people's car in dozens of countries. Vicente Fernandez, known as El Charro de Huentitan, owned a ranch with unique miniature horses. He spent a fortune breeding them to be perfectly proportional, treating them with the same honor as his prize stallions. He never allowed anyone on his stage wearing a hat unless they were a real charro. The largest number of people doing hula hoops simultaneously was achieved in Thailand. 4,483 people kept the hoop spinning for 7 consecutive minutes inside a stadium in Bangkok. This record requires every participant to have solid basic technique. The Flatmobile holds the Guinness World Record as the lowest car in the world at about 19 inches tall. It is a flattened replica of the 1966 Batmobile equipped with a rear turbine engine. This strange vehicle is so low it can pass underneath a truck. The title of human computer belonged to Shakuntala Devi, a mathematical prodigy. She calculated the 23rd root of a 201-digit number in just 50 seconds, outperforming computers in the year 1977. She had no formal education and taught herself mathematics. The Devon Tread 1 watch uses moving nylon belts to display the exact time. Instead of gears or hands, it relies on micro-robotic motors that shift numbered bands. This invention runs on a battery recharged by induction through crystal. St. Kitts and Nevis was the first country to legally sell citizenship to foreign investors. In exchange for real estate investment, anyone can obtain a passport from this Caribbean nation. The funds are used to rebuild after hurricanes. It is a national business model where identity and territory become financial assets. Hayabusa 2 returned samples from a distant asteroid to Earth. It blasted the surface of asteroid Ryugu to collect subsurface material unchanged for billions of years. A small capsule landed in the Australian desert. The mission revealed that asteroids may have delivered the basic building blocks of life to early Earth. The throne of Dagobah is a bronze piece of furniture that belonged to Merovingian kings. It is one of the very few surviving pieces of furniture from the early Middle Ages in Europe. This rare object was later used by Napoleon during ceremonies. Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce is considered the most difficult text ever written. It uses an invented language mixing words from 70 different languages to simulate a dream. The Irish author took 17 years to complete it. Many critics believe it is verbal music rather than a conventional novel. In Australia, it is technically illegal to wear bright pink pants in public on Sunday afternoons. This Victorian-era law aimed to enforce sobriety on the holy day, and while unenforced, it still exists in writing. It is a reminder of how fashion was once regulated by religious morality. Chicha de Muco is an Andean drink where corn fermentation begins with human saliva. Women chew the grain and spit it into a container where enzymes convert starch into sugar for alcohol. It is a millennia-old tradition considered purer than chemical fermentation. Scorpion beer is produced in Vietnam and contains a whole real scorpion inside the bottle. The venom is believed to be neutralized by alcohol and to provide pain relief and sexual vitality. It is sold to tourists and locals seeking remedies for arthritis. The longest-serving employee at the same company is Walter Orthman, who worked 86 years at a factory in Brazil. He began in the year 1938 as a shipping assistant and stayed until he was over 100 years old. He says the secret to longevity was doing work he loved every day. Liu Thao Lin is known as the human magnet who can stick metal objects to his skin. He can hold iron plates and cutlery on his chest without adhesives. He is not magnetic but has unusual suction-like skin. His ability allows him to pull vehicles using only a metal plate attached to his abdomen. The Hand of Glory was a severed and mummified human hand taken from a criminal. In ancient Europe, it was used as a mystical candle holder to help thieves enter homes. It was believed to put occupants into a deep sleep when its fingers were lit. The Houtlens HL 2.0 displays hours using a moving chain of links. Each hour, the chain mechanically shifts, rotating the regulating organ to avoid timing errors. The watch features a sapphire crystal faceted on 3 sides. Ted Hastings holds the record for wearing the most shirts at once with 260 layers. He needed help putting them on, and eventually his arms were completely immobilized. The record turned him into a massive ball of fabric, barely able to breathe. The Sparrow Osmos amazed the world with wheels that have no central hub. The tire rotates around a giant circular ring, leaving an empty space where the axle should be. The design aimed to reduce weight and improve cooling. Though it looks like science fiction, it is a fully functional vehicle. Dominica is known as the nature island for having a boiling lake. Boiling Lake is a volcanic flooded crater that constantly emits hot steam from its center. It is also the only place with a population of Carib indigenous people. The nation has rejected mass tourism to protect its rainforests and hot springs. Sugar batteries use enzymes to convert carbohydrates into electricity. Scientists have powered small devices using soda or glucose as fuel. The batteries are biodegradable and far cheaper than traditional ones. They promise a future where electronics run on organic sources instead of toxic metals. The Magellan mission mapped 98% of the surface of Venus. It used radar to see through thick sulfuric acid clouds covering the planet. The mission revealed a landscape of lava and extreme heat. It marked the first time humanity truly saw the surface of a world hidden by dense atmosphere. The treasure of Saipan was discovered in a royal tomb of the Moche culture in Peru. It includes gold and turquoise ear ornaments with microscopic detail, visible only with magnification. The treasure narrowly avoided looting by grave robbers. In Burundi, it is strictly forbidden to jog or run in groups on the streets. The government imposed this law in the year 2014, claiming group runs were used to organize political protests. The law turns a healthy sport into an act of rebellion punishable by prison. Jenna Ortega revealed that during darker film projects, she performs informal autopsies on dead animals she finds. She does it out of scientific curiosity and to understand anatomy, which helped her connect with her character, Wednesday Addams. Her personality aligns closely with the horror genre that made her globally famous. Rauw Alejandro commissioned a motorcycle helmet embedded with real diamonds. He uses it as a fashion statement in videos and as an art piece symbolizing speed in the future. He also demands that his diet includes seasonal exotic fruits cut into exact geometric shapes. Anti-Gin is a luxury spirit made with redwood ants. Each bottle contains the essence of about 62 ants distilled to extract formic acid, giving the gin citrusy and spicy notes. It is a collaboration between scientists and distillers exploring flavors from small fauna. Leclerc was the first automobile in history to use air-filled tires. Designed by the Michelin brothers in the year 1895, it entered a race to prove air was superior. It had to change tires every 9 miles. Though it lost the race, it permanently changed road travel. The Koh-i-Noor diamond is one of the most famous and controversial jewels in history. It is said to bring misfortune to any man who wears it, which is why only British queens do. It has been claimed by India and Pakistan. Its name means mountain of light, and it passed through Persian, Mongol, and Sikh rulers. The Urwerk UR111C watch does not use a flat dial, but rotating cylinders. Time is read on the side while seconds appear through an optical window on top. It uses micromechanical roller systems. The watch abandons traditional hands for a linear technical time display. The Sparrow Challenge of 1985 featured an extremely low aerodynamic drag coefficient. Its side mirrors were replaced with video cameras, which was unheard of at the time. The car pursued maximum efficiency at high speed. Christian Nodal underwent an expensive laser process to remove facial tattoos so his daughter could know his real face. Despite being a tattooed icon of regional Mexican music, he chose to spend thousands restoring his forehead and cheekbones. He documented the painful process as part of his transformation as a father. Beef jerky soda is a creation by the American company Real Soda. The drink attempts to replicate the smoky, salty spice flavor of dried beef in a sweet carbonated form. It often appears on lists of the hardest sodas to finish in one sitting. Peso Pluma requires his hotel room to be completely sealed so no sunlight enters. He uses black tape to cover door and window gaps, achieving total darkness so he can sleep at any hour. He claims sunlight disrupts his creative cycle, and that only in darkness does he feel safe. Pechuga Mezcal is a Mexican spirit distilled with a chicken or turkey breast hanging inside the still. Alcohol vapor passes through the meat-absorbing flavors and fats, giving the drink a silky, smoky body. It is reserved for major celebrations like weddings or important baptisms. The record for holding the most tennis balls in one hand is 26, achieved by Rainer Suttle. He held them for 5 seconds without dropping any, using precise stacking across his fingers. The feat requires large hands and unusually elastic skin. The Argus 2 bionic eye restores partial vision to people with total blindness. A camera mounted on glasses sends wireless signals to an implant placed on the retina. Patients can perceive shapes, light, and movement. It represents a major step toward integrating digital sensors into human vision. Viking 1 was the first successful United States landing on Mars. In the year 1976, it sent the first color photos of the red planet, showing a cold, rocky desert. It searched for signs of life in Martian soil. Though results were unclear, it paved the way for all future rover missions. The Treasure of Karun is a collection of gold jewelry from the era of King Croesus. It was looted from a tomb in Turkey and later returned from the Metropolitan Museum. The pieces include animal-shaped brooches. Croesus was the richest man of his time, and the treasure proves his immense wealth. The Dynasphere was a giant spherical automobile with the driver inside. Invented in the year 1932, it consisted of a single wheel about 10 feet tall, powered by an internal gasoline engine. It was difficult to see from and nearly impossible to stop. It remains one of the most curious attempts to reinvent the wheel as a vehicle. The deepest cave descent record was achieved in Verovkina Cave in Georgia. Explorers descended more than 7,256 feet underground on a journey that takes over a week round trip. They live in total darkness during the mission. It is the deepest point ever reached by humans in Earth's crust. The belt of Queen Le Boucher is a legendary piece of magical jewelry from Prague. According to legend, the city's founder used it to foresee the future of the Czech nation. It is decorated with engraved red garnets. Julio Cesar Chavez often wore a red headband for protection against bad energy. Despite his toughness in the ring, he was extremely superstitious and consulted seers before major fights. He arrived at bouts in gold-plated cars or surrounded by high-profile celebrities. The Brubaker box was a kit car van inspired by early minivans. It had no side doors, and access was gained by sliding the entire right panel of the vehicle. It used the chassis of a Volkswagen Beetle. Lesotho is the only nation in the world entirely above about 4,593 feet in elevation. Known as the Kingdom in the Sky, it is completely surrounded by South Africa. It also has one of the most dangerous airstrips on Earth. Basotho shepherd culture coexists with the heaviest snowfalls in Africa. Food batteries use activated carbon and vitamin B2 to generate energy. Italian researchers created a power cell that is completely edible and safe to digest. It allows internal body monitoring without risk. The device dissolves after completing its task, promising a revolution in diagnostic medicine. The record for longest hair suspension was broken in May 2025 by Layla Noon in California. She hung suspended in the air, supported only by her hair, for 25 minutes and 11 seconds beneath redwood trees. The feat requires an extremely strong scalp and absolute pain control. South Korean feces wine is made by fermenting the feces of children with rice alcohol for months. Though nearly extinct, the practice is preserved at the Disgusting Food Museum in Sweden as an example of extreme traditional medicine. It was once believed to ease pain and heal broken bones. The deepest mailbox in the world is located in Susami Bay, Japan, at about 33 feet underwater. Divers must descend with special plastic postcards to send mail from the ocean floor. A diver collects the mail daily using professional equipment. The Frank Muller Eternatus Mega is the most complicated watch ever made with 36 functions. It features a perpetual calendar that requires no adjustment for 1,000 years and a full Westminster chime. It is a mechanical cathedral compressed into a tiny space. The Wiener Mobile is a vehicle shaped like a giant hot dog. First designed in the year 1936 to promote sausages, it has evolved through many technological versions. Driven by hot doggers across the United States, it is one of the most beloved mobile marketing icons in advertising history. Palau is an island nation with a lake filled with millions of golden jellyfish. Due to evolutionary isolation, these jellyfish have lost the ability to sting humans. Visitors can swim among them in a surreal experience. It is a unique natural sanctuary, showing how life adapts in protected ecosystems. Radiant paint uses materials that absorb sunlight and glow at night. It has been used on highways in the Netherlands to eliminate the need for electric streetlights. It improves road safety sustainably. It shows how urban design can mimic natural bioluminescence to save energy. The Trieste submersible was the first to descend to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. In 1962, men went down to a depth of about 35,777 feet, enduring pressures of 1,000 atmospheres. It proved that life exists even in total darkness. It was an achievement comparable to the moon landing, exploring the deepest and most unknown place on our planet. The record for the largest collection of stuffed animals belongs to Sabrina Dausman, with 1,523 pieces in 2025. She has dedicated entire rooms of her home in Illinois to organizing the toys by color size and release date. She says that every plush toy has its own name and a different biographical story. The Iron Crown of Lombardy contains a nail that is said to come from the cross. It was used by Charlemagne and Napoleon Bonaparte to proclaim themselves kings of the entire Italian peninsula. It is a blend of Byzantine enamel and hammered gold. The Bond Bug of 1970 was an orange three-wheeled car with a door that opened forward. It was designed to be a fun, youthful vehicle using a high-performance aluminum engine. It became an instant cult object. Despite its toy-like appearance, it could reach surprising speeds for its real size. The Paris crystal skull is a transparent quartz piece weighing about 4.4 pounds. For years, it was believed to be an Aztec jewel, but analyses in 2008 revealed marks from modern rotary tools. It is a masterpiece of 19th century forgery. Despite not being ancient, it continues to fascinate because of its technical perfection and the legends around it. The Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso has a case that flips over on itself. It was invented in 1931 so polo players could protect the watch crystal during matches. It is one of the few watches that allows two different dials. The Tartaria tablets are 3 clay pieces with a mysterious script. They were found in Romania and may represent the oldest writing system in the world. They challenge the idea that civilization began in Sumeria. Although controversial, they suggest the Balkans had an advanced culture long before Mesopotamia. The Citroën DS of 1955 was nicknamed the Shark because of its radical aerodynamic shape. It was the first car with hydro-pneumatic suspension, allowing it to drive on 3 wheels if needed. This vehicle saved the life of President de Gaulle during an assassination attempt. It is considered one of the most beautiful and influential designs in automotive engineering history. The record for the most ascents of Mount Everest was updated in May 2025 by Kami Rita Sherpa. He reached the summit for the 31st time, surpassing his own world record once again. This places him as the human who has spent the most time in the death zone. John Reznikoff owns the world's largest collection of hair from historical celebrities. His archive includes authentic locks from Abraham Lincoln, Albert Einstein, Marilyn Monroe, and even Ludwig van Beethoven. He has even sold diamonds created from the carbon extracted from the hair of these geniuses. Pepsi Azuki is a soft drink exclusive to Japan, flavored like sweet red bean azuki. Unlike traditional cola, this liquid is pink and aims to imitate the taste of traditional Japanese desserts such as mochi. It is part of a seasonal flavor strategy that has included cucumber and yogurt additions. The treasure of El Carambolo consists of gold jewelry from the Tartessos culture. It was found in Seville and demonstrates advanced Phoenician goldsmithing techniques from more than 2,500 years ago. It includes bracelets and plaques with fine reliefs. It is the most tangible proof of the mythical civilization of Tartessos mentioned by ancient Greeks. Nicolas Cage bought a mansion in New Orleans that once belonged to a serial killer. The LaLaurie House is famous for its legends of torture and ghosts, and Cage acquired it to inspire his art. He also owns a white pyramid-shaped tomb. The eccentric Roman emperor Elagabalus used to release tame lions at his banquets to frighten his guests. He also forced diners to eat dishes made of peacock tongues and flamingo brains. He gave out lottery prizes that could be a bear or a fly. His reign was a constant performance of chaos and luxury that shocked conservative ancient Roman society. Usain Bolt ate exactly 1,000 chicken McNuggets during the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games. He said Chinese food felt strange to him, and the nuggets were the only thing he knew, and that gave him real energy. He won 3 gold medals and broke world records that year. The longest concert in the world is taking place in a church in Germany. The piece Organ ASLSP by John Cage began in the year 2001 and is scheduled to last 639 years. The work was designed to be played as slowly as possible. The next note change will not occur for several years, drawing tourists from around the world. The M-Drive engine supposedly generates thrust without using fuel. It uses microwaves bouncing inside a closed cavity, challenging the current understanding of Newton's third law. It has been tested by NASA with confusing results. If it worked, it would allow massive space travel at speeds never before imagined. The Deep Impact mission launched a copper projectile into a comet. The goal was to create a crater to study the internal composition of Comet Tempel 1 during flight. It revealed that comets contain ice and organic dust. It was the first time humanity struck a celestial object to see what was inside its core. The Chalice of Antioch was mistaken for the Holy Grail for decades. It is a carved silver structure that surrounds a simpler, older glass cup. It shows figures of the apostles in Jesus. Although now believed to be a Byzantine lamp, it remains a key piece of early Christian art. Graham Greene, a different person from the writer, spent millions building a bunker beneath his home that was an exact replica of his garden. It had artificial grass plastic trees and a lighting system that mimicked a 24-hour solar cycle so he would not miss the sun. He wanted to survive a nuclear war without losing sight of his favorite roses. Gao Jal is a drink produced in India, promoted as a healthy alternative to Coca-Cola. Its main ingredient is purified cow urine, mixed with herbs like aloe vera and Indian gooseberry to improve flavor. It is defended by traditionalist groups who consider the cow sacred and healing. It is claimed to help with liver diseases and digestive problems, turning waste into a spiritual elixir. The record for the loudest scream belongs to Annalisa Ray, who reached 121 decibels. Her scream is equivalent to the noise of a jet engine taking off at close range. It can cause immediate hearing damage to anyone nearby without protection. Seagull wine is a drink created by Inuit people to combat extreme Arctic cold. It involves placing a dead seagull inside a bottle of water and letting it ferment in the sun until the liquid turns gray. Its flavor has been described as rotten motor oil with an immediate intoxicating effect. The record for the most drinking straws held in the mouth without hands is 459, achieved by Manoj Kumar Maharana. He had to hold them for 10 seconds for the record to count, challenging the elasticity of his cheeks. It requires jaw flexibility worthy of a unique biological specimen. The loudest dog bark belongs to a golden retriever named Charlie from Australia. His bark reached 113.1 decibels, surpassing the noise of a jet engine during takeoff. He needs open space to avoid damaging his owner's hearing. The treasure of Panagurishti is a Thracian gold tableware set made of 24-karat gold. The vessels are shaped like animal heads in mythological scenes with astonishing detail. This rare object found in Bulgaria weighs more than 13 pounds of pure-worked gold from about 2,400 years ago. It showcases the extreme luxury of ancient Balkan warriors. Mamajuana is a drink from the Dominican Republic, made with tree bark herbs, honey rum, and red wine. Originally, it was a medicine of the Taino people, but today it is famous as a powerful energy and digestive tonic. It is served in bottles where the roots remain inside for years. The older the wood mixture, the stronger the spirit it is said to give the human body. Stone soup is a tradition in which a river stone is boiled to flavor a simple broth. Although the stone adds no nutrients, the symbolic act unites the community as each neighbor adds a real ingredient. It teaches that cooperation can turn scarcity into a feast. Variations exist around the world celebrating generosity over the physical recipe. Lance Armstrong competed in the Tour de France with only one testicle after surviving cancer. Although his 7 titles were stripped for doping, his physical recovery after chemotherapy was a medical miracle. He changed how the world views overcoming disease. His story reminds us that in elite sport, the line between hero and villain can be invisible. Nyotai Mori involves serving sushi and sashimi on the naked body of a woman or a man. The body is used as a human table, keeping the fish at temperature through body heat. It is an ancient practice now seen only at private events. Elizabeth Taylor owned La Peregrina, a pearl 500 years old that once belonged to Spanish royalty. She almost lost it when her small dog tried to chew it in a hotel suite, mistaking it for a toy. She loved diamonds as much as her many public marriages. Her life was a constant display of old-school glamour, where gemstones had their own stories. Terry Sawchuk ended his career with 400 stitches on his face and hands. He played for years without a protective mask, taking direct hits from rubber pucks, traveling at more than 62 miles per hour. He symbolizes the stoicism and brutality of old-era hockey. A famous photo from 1966 shows his face reconstructed with makeup to reveal the true cost of his passion. Stanley Kubrick had such a fear of flying that he required his film sets to be built in London. Even when his movies were set in Vietnam or New York, he stayed in England for personal safety. He was known to repeat a single scene more than 100 times until it was perfect. Timothy Dexter wrote a book without a single punctuation mark on any page. At the end, he added a sheet filled with commas and periods for readers to place wherever they liked. He became rich selling bed warmers in the Caribbean. Though considered an idiot by his contemporaries, every absurd business he tried made him a fortune. Chicken feet are a delicacy in Asia, but require special technique to eat without choking. They are served boiled, fried, or in soup, and are valued for natural collagen that keeps skin firm. They are a common snack that challenges Western tastes. In China, they are called phoenix claws, elevating a humble ingredient to an imperial dish. Muggsy Bogues stood only 5 feet 3 inches tall and played against giants over 6 feet 11 inches. He is the shortest player in NBA history, proving that speed and ball stealing can beat height. He even blocks shots from players nearly 2 feet taller. His career shows that heart and skill outweigh any measurement. Doc Ellis pitched a no-hitter while under the effects of LSD. He claimed he could not feel the ball and saw batters as colorful geometric shapes while pitching. He achieved one of the hardest feats in sports in an altered state. His story is a legend of the 1970s, where counterculture mixed with Major League Baseball. Salvador Dalí designed a sofa shaped exactly like the lips of actress Mae West. He wanted people to sit on beauty and turn a human feature into a surreal, functional object. He transformed an entire room into the actress's face. It was one of the first times pop art and luxury furniture merged into a single visual experience. Mike Tyson revealed that he spends thousands of dollars bathing his pigeons with special oils. He says a pigeon's feathers must shine like silk, and he spends hours cleaning each feather by hand. He finds daily therapy in avian hygiene. The common swift can remain in the air for 10 consecutive months without touching the ground. Scientists discovered through sensors that these birds never land, not even to sleep. Their journey takes them from Sweden to Central Africa and back to their nests. They are the ultimate athletes of the sky, turning thermal currents into their bed and sustenance. Fantastic Zoology by Jorge Luis Borges describes the Abao Aku, a creature that lives only in a tower. Legend says it only takes true form when a pure man climbs the stairs of the Tower of Victory. It blends real fauna with beings that exist only in language and myth. Borges shows us that imagined animals say more about us than those we see in zoos. Did you know there is a ghost plane story that feels written by Netflix? Meet the famous Flight 513. They say it vanished in 1954 and then casually landed in Brazil in 1989. The creepiest part? People claim it arrived with 92 skeletons on board, like a check-in to the afterlife. There is no real evidence, but the paranormal gossip is still flying high. Did you know an Argentine idea changed forever how criminals are caught? Discover Juan Vucetich, the guy who said enough with guesses and brought fingerprints into the game. In 1892, he solved a case by identifying the culprit with a simple finger pattern. Basically, your identity went from "I think it was you" to "this is your thumb, champ." From that moment on, criminology had to get serious. Can you imagine a clock that does not measure minutes but thousands of years? Meet the 10,000-year clock, a beast designed to keep working long after your passwords are gone. It was built by the Long Now Foundation inside a mountain in Texas, like a temple to time itself. The idea is to make you think long-term, not just about what you will eat today. It is basically a direct hit to planned obsolescence. Did you know there is a car worth as much as an empire and it also roars? This is the Ferrari 250 GTO. Only 36 exist and some have sold for more than $70 million at auctions. It is so exclusive that it is not a vehicle. It is a licensed sculpture of 20th century Italian design. Owning one means entering the most VIP club in the automotive world. The problem is, if you scratch it, your grandchildren will cry too. Would you dare to smell a flower that feels like it came from an apocalypse? Meet the corpse flower, Amorphophallus titanum. It smells like rotten meat to attract insects, like a macabre buffet. It blooms every few years and only for 48 hours, meaning an exclusive event with a criminal-level aroma. It can grow to almost 10 feet tall, so it does not just attack your nose, it intimidates you visually too. Did you know Botero swore he never painted fat people? Discover his favorite excuse: "I paint volume," as if humanity came in HD. For him, it was an exploration of form, sensuality, and aesthetics, not biological obesity. And the best part is that he donated a large part of his collection to museums so art could belong to everyone. In other words, he painted big, and his generosity was big too. Does it sound impossible that February had a 30th day? Sweden in 1712 said yes, it can happen, because they messed up the switch from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. To fix the chaos, they added an extra day, and it was officially recorded. It is the only impossible day in the calendar, like a time glitch with signature and stamp. Moral of the story, bureaucracy can bend reality, at least on paper. Did you know there are stones that some people swear are alien proof? Discover the Dropa stones, supposed discs with microscopic grooves found in caves in China, like extraterrestrial vinyl records. The legend says they tell the story of a crashed spaceship, and of course Hollywood applauds. Many have debunked it, but the myth lives on because pop culture loves a good "they say." Whenever a mystery appears, someone is always ready to shout, "It was a UFO." Post-it notes were born from the most useful mistake in history, a glue that did not stick the way it was supposed to. Spencer Silver was looking for a super strong adhesive and created one that peels off without leaving marks, the ultimate act of rebellion. Years later, a co-worker used it to mark pages in his hymn book and had a light bulb moment. This works for everything. And just like that, a lab failure ended up ruling offices, studios, and chaotic lives. Imagine having a drink in space, where bubbles can betray you worse than an ex. Space beer is designed for zero gravity, with special carbonation so your stomach does not inflate like a balloon. It was tested on parabolic flights because in space there is no bathroom 2 steps away. It is the ultimate proof that humanity wants to explore the universe, but obviously with a beer in hand. Some artists warm up their voice, and others are afraid of mirrors. Enrique Iglesias has the superstition of not looking at himself before going on stage because he believes his energy gets trapped in the glass. So he walks out trusting his team and his luck as if his reflection were a charisma thief. The result is a show powered by blind faith and zero hair checking. Water polo looks elegant from the outside, but underwater it is a soap opera with fingernails. Since referees cannot see what happens below the surface, some players scratch each other to gain an advantage and wear down their rivals. That is why there is a nail inspection before matches. Yes, an aquatic sport with mandatory manicure control. It is the only place where "I got hurt swimming" can be completely true and completely intentional. In the 60s, people tried to make movies so immersive that they even added smells to the story. Smell Cinema released scents synced with the film, but audiences ended up more distracted than emotional. Worse still, lingering smells of food, gunpowder, or whatever else ruined the next screening like an aromatic ghost. A brilliant idea on paper and a perfumed disaster in real life. Chespirito passed away, but his farewell was pure heart. He died of natural causes, yet his funeral at Azteca Stadium gathered massive crowds as if it were a world final, with people dressed as his characters. His coffin was escorted by thousands of Chavo del Ocho fans, proving that humor also creates family. When a character has been with you your whole life, goodbye feels personal. Parker Solar Probe is basically a spacecraft with a "I am going anyway" attitude. It is the first to skim the sun's atmosphere, passing through regions where heat would make ordinary steel cry. It sends back data about the solar wind that affects Earth, like an explorer sending messages from hell. And yes, its final destiny is to crash into our star, a brave, epic mission with a known ending. A watch that shows you the time, and also a miniature ballet of the solar system. The Van Cleef and Arpels Midnight Planetarium features gemstone spheres orbiting the sun according to real-time orbits. The mind-blowing detail is that Saturn takes 29 years to complete one full turn. It is like wearing the universe on your wrist and feeling like a billionaire astronomer, even if you are late for work. Did you know Attila the Hun, the terror of the Roman Empire, had a dark comedy ending? On his wedding night, after drinking like there was no tomorrow, he suffered a massive nosebleed. They say he was so drunk he could not react and ended up choking on his own blood. That is how the most feared warrior fell, not by a sword, but by his own nose in betrayal mode. Epic history, absurd ending. Meet the Pontiac transparent car, the vehicle that basically said, "Look, Mom, I am see-through." It was built for the World's Fair of 1939 with a plexiglass body that revealed the engine, brakes, and chassis like a live tutorial. It was the first transparent car, a futuristic madness for its time. Imagine driving while everyone can see every last bolt. It is the no-secrets version of automobiles. Discover the most macabre side of the obsession with leaving a legacy, the Sober Rain book, bound in human skin. Yes, it sounds like a movie, but the practice called anthropodermic bibliophagy existed in the 18th and 19th centuries. Some people requested that their confessions or writings be bound with their own skin after death, as a final signature. Today, these books are kept in special libraries with strict controls and heavy ethical oversight. It is legacy taken to the extreme, and it gives chills. Do you know the story of the supposed heart of Anne Boleyn? After her execution, it is said Henry VIII ordered it to be kept in a secret urn and buried beneath a church in Suffolk. The idea was to prevent it from becoming an object of worship, but it only fueled centuries of searches and mystery, passion, hatred, power, and royal-level gossip. A relic that, real or not, keeps beating in legend. Did you know that in 1950 there was a reign of cats in Malaysia, driven by science and desperation? Discover Operation Cat Drop. To stop a rat plague, 14,000 live cats were dropped by parachute. This happened after pesticides destroyed the ecosystem and killed local predators, leaving disaster wide open. It sounds funny, but it is a brutal lesson. Mess with nature without thinking, and it hits back with whiskers. Meet the most realistic invisibility cloak we have. No magic, just optical trickery. The quantum invisibility cloak uses precision lenses to bend light and make what is behind disappear from view. It needs no power, only geometry and extremely fine design, like lab-grade illusionism. You will not become Harry Potter, but you will definitely say, "How is that possible?" out loud. Did you know a Japanese probe actually fired at an asteroid to open a crater? Discover the Hayabusa 2 mission? It launched an explosive charge to expose fresh subsurface material hidden from sunlight for millions of years. Then it collected samples and brought back material containing amino acids, key ingredients for life. It is like cooking a cosmic recipe with space rocks, and it strengthens the wild idea that life may have traveled through the universe inside rocks. Like interplanetary delivery. Did you know the record for the largest troll doll collection belongs to a woman with more than 8,000 figures? Yes, 8,000. Her house is basically an enchanted forest of fluorescent hair and fixed stairs. She organizes them by year and rarity, like fine wine, but with electric shock hairstyles. Best of all, she believes each troll has its own personality, meaning she lives with 8,000 silent roommates. If one falls off a shelf, it was probably internal clan drama. The parrot beak looks like a simple bottle opener, but it has a past as a serious multi-tool straight out of ancient Rome. Archaeologists believe similar objects were used not only to open containers, but also to clean horse hooves after battles. So the same piece of metal that opened your drink also got the horse ready for the next fight. Ergonomic design before the word ergonomics even existed. Humanity inventing all-in-one tools since forever. Meet the Lamborghini Veneno, a car so exclusive they made only 13, and that was it. Its design looks like an angry spaceship inspired by racing prototypes with ground-hugging aerodynamics. It is named after a legendary fierce bull called Veneno, meaning zero cuteness. It costs more than $4 million, so if you ever see one on the street, it is not luck, it is an astronomical event. Science fiction with a license plate. Can you imagine living 1,500 years with only 2 leaves? The Welwitschia mirabilis does exactly that in the Namib Desert, like the immortal grandmother of plants. Its 2 leaves never stop growing, twist together, and end up looking like a pile of plant debris on the sand. It survives by absorbing moisture from night fog because the heat there is full inferno mode. Proof that life says I adapt even with the bare minimum. Discover Frida Kahlo, the artist who could change her birthday like changing a mood. Sometimes she claimed to be born in 1910 to tie herself to the Mexican Revolution because her life was also a manifesto. She decorated her house with sugar skulls and exotic animals she treated like children, all with the vibe of a colorful altar. Frida did not just paint, she built a character and lived it without asking permission. A true queen of I decide my own story. 1978 was a year when the Vatican went into fast rotation mode with 3 popes in less than 2 months. Paul VI died, John Paul I lasted only 33 days, and then John Paul II arrived and changed global geopolitics. Imagine working in human resources there, saying welcome sign here and goodbye. This episode triggered theories and fears about the fragility of religious leaders. Real history at maximum drama. Glenn Gould was a piano genius with the rituals of a true eccentric. Before playing, he soaked his arms in hot water for exactly 20 minutes, like he was preparing a precision machine. When he recorded the Goldberg variations, he hummed along out loud without being able to stop. So you get a masterpiece with surprise background vocals included. Massive talent with very strange habits, a perfect combination. In Florence, there is a relic that sounds like a joke, but is treated with total devotion, the supposed finger of John the Baptist. A dry bone kept in a reliquary that tradition says was the finger that pointed at Jesus in the Jordan River. It survived floods, wars, and centuries of chaos as if it had a legendary shield. Human faith sometimes protects tiny things with infinite importance. History, mystery, and devotion all in one finger. Did you know there is a watch that looks back at you? The Constantine Chaikin Joker tells time with a face. The eyes show hours and minutes, and the tongue displays the moon phases. It even changes expression every minute as if the watch had its own mood and was judging you. It is the only accessory that seems to say you're late, and I find it funny. High watchmaking with a friendly villain personality. Meet Johnny Depp and his bracelet armor. He never takes them off, not even during filming. He believes those amulets store the essence of his travels and friends like emotional flash drives made of leather. If he loses them, he says he loses connection with the character's mind like acting Wi-Fi. He has collected so many that wardrobe sometimes has to hide them with makeup, so the character does not look like they came from a mystical fair. Rocky Marciano was not just a champion, he retired undefeated at 49 wins and 0 losses. The official "nobody beats me" of heavyweight boxing. His unusual method was punching a sandbag underwater, like training to fight Poseidon. He was never knocked down for a 10 count, meaning he left the ring with his record and his head intact. A legend who left before the ring could collect its price. Cinerama was the attempt at giant cinema before IMAX existed to show off. It used 3 projectors in a massive curved screen to wrap around your peripheral vision like the movie was hugging you and making you a little dizzy. The problem was that synchronizing it was an expensive nightmare, so very few films were made in that format. Proof that humans always want more immersion, even when their wallet screams no. Did you know James Bond's submarine car exists outside the movie? The Lotus Esprit used on screen had models for some shots, but the original exists and was bought by Elon Musk for almost $1 million. The idea was to turn it into a real electric vehicle, because why drive only on land when you can also go underwater? It is the ultimate human fantasy, one machine to conquer all terrain and humiliate fish at the same time. The Spear of Longinus is a relic surrounded by an aura of curse and absolute power. It is said to be the spear used to pierce Jesus on the cross, which is why emperors and conquerors hunted it like a remote control for destiny. Hitler was obsessed with it and kept it in Nuremberg, believing whoever owned it ruled the future. The mystery remains today. Is the Vienna spear the original or a medieval replica with great marketing? Discover the Saqqara bird, an ancient Egyptian wooden object that looks like a modern glider. It is about 2,200 years old, yet its aerodynamic proportions suggest the Egyptians may have been experimenting with flight. It was tested in wind tunnels and showed real gliding capability like an ancient prototype. Imagine a pharaoh saying, "Today, no pyramids, today I want to fly." The stone forest in Madagascar looks like a place where Earth got angry and grew spikes. These are sharp limestone needles carved by erosion so dangerous that walking without gear feels like parkour on knives. The wildest part is that endemic animals live there and jump between the blades like it is totally normal. Nature on expert mode while humans are asking for a respawn. The plague ring did not tell time. It offered hope of not dying just by breathing. It was a ring filled with aromatic substances like vinegar and herbs used by medieval doctors to filter infected air. It may sound naive, but it was their portable version of health protection, half superstition and half survival. Basically, the elegant ancestor of the face mask with an apocalypse perfume. Can you imagine warming your body with your mind before entering icy water? Extreme swimmer Louis Pugh says he can raise his body temperature through mental control, like activating human heater mode. He enters freezing waters where most people last seconds and moves as if negotiating with the cold. It is endurance at the limit where the mind outmuscles nature. And yes, it gives chills, but to you watching. Did you know that in 1936 there was already a minivan that looked like it came from the future? Meet the Stout Scarab, inspired by beetles and incredibly rare and valuable today. It had a card table inside and rotating seats, basically a living room on wheels when radios were still mind-blowing. It was a boutique motorhome before the concept even existed. Seeing it drive by, you would think that is not a car, that is a spaceship. The Amazonian Victoria is the plant that humiliates inflatable mattresses. Its leaves can support the weight of a child thanks to rib structures that trap air underneath like genius-level natural engineering. It only blooms at night and shifts from white to pink as if it came with built-in romantic lighting. It lives in the Amazon where everything feels bigger and more dramatic. The aquatic queen, beautiful and massive. Discover Luis Miguel's luxury vampire sleep mode in hotels. He demands curtains sealed with black tape so not a single ray of sunlight gets in, as if light taxed his voice. He seeks total isolation to protect rest and singing like a space capsule. He even asks staff not to make eye contact, royal distance with a soundtrack. Sleeping like a king, but with a microphone. October 5th of 1582 is such a strange date that in some countries it never existed. Spain, Italy, and Portugal jumped from October 4th to October 15th to adjust the Gregorian calendar, erasing 10 days instantly. Imagine waking up and being told half the month is gone. Good luck. Contracts burst and accounts fell into chaos because time hit skip intro. Humanity inventing time bugs through administration. Do you know the Chern Abbas giant? It is a naked human figure carved into a chalk hill, standing about 180 feet tall, like a divine-sized graffiti. For centuries, it was seen as an ancient Celtic fertility symbol full of mysticism. Recent analysis suggests it may actually be a political parody from the 17th century, basically a very old meme with intent. England and its giant sense of humor. Velcro was born from a very everyday observation, a dog covered in burrs. Georges de Mestral looked at it and said, "There is science here," studied them under a microscope, and found perfect hooks. He recreated the trick in nylon and created humanity's favorite fast closure. Nature invents and humans proudly copy. Moral of the story, sometimes great inventions come from cleaning junk off the dog. Meat pulque sounds like a legend, but is told as a rural tradition in Mexico. It is fermented agave sap mixed with chicken leg or red meat. The idea is that protein speeds up fermentation and gives the drink more body like a Viking smoothie. It is believed to help restore strength, especially for field workers. This is not modern mixology, it is countryside alchemy. A bartender would faint, a grandfather would clap. Angelina Jolie has a superstition that mixes action movie energy with spiritual charm. She collects antique knives and carries one hidden, believing metal can cut through bad energy like invisible threads. It is not just a pose. She has trained in martial arts and knife throwing since she was young. She is the kind of person who walks into a room and your bad luck quietly leaves. Elegance with warrior mode on. In the past, boxing was so brutal that 100-round fights actually existed. The longest one lasted 7 hours and 19 minutes between Andy Bowen and Jack Burke in 1893. Basically a full work shift, but with punches. It ended in a draw because both fighters were completely destroyed, with no energy left even to breathe properly. That chaos helped push new rules to protect boxers from the idea of fighting until someone died. Lesson learned: when a sport goes too far, even the spectacle itself says stop. Polyvision was cinema in maximum ambition mode, using 3 screens side by side to create a gigantic panoramic image. Abel Gance used it in Napoleon in 1927 and forced audiences to move their heads to follow the action, like sitting in the front row of a stadium. It was so complex that many theaters could not project it, so it became a relic of misunderstood genius. It was the first serious attempt at immersive cinema before immersive became a marketing word. Total innovation with neck pain included. Discovered David Alfaro Siqueiros, the muralist who looked at the paintbrush and said, "That is too bourgeois. I am going with artillery." He painted using spray guns and automotive paint, like customizing a car, but on a massive wall. He wanted art to be as durable as industrial machinery, not a delicate little watercolor. His murals had textures that looked alive, breaking the idea of a flat wall. Basically, factory-level graffiti powered by genius. Did you know Francis Bacon died after trying to freeze a chicken with snow? Yes, the philosopher went into scientific chef mode to test whether cold could preserve food. The problem was that the cold preserved nothing except the pneumonia that destroyed his health. He died from a street-level experiment that sounds absurd today, but connects to modern food preservation. A brilliant mind defeated by weather and a chicken. Tragic and very much do not try this at home. The Chrysler turbine car was so futuristic it looked like it needed a runway. It used a jet engine instead of pistons and could run on almost any flammable liquid, from tequila to perfume. In the 1960s, its turbine sound left pedestrians frozen, asking what was that. Chrysler even lent them to regular citizens to test drive, like handing rockets to neighbors. It failed because it consumed too much fuel, but remains the most space-age car ever to touch a street. Meet the prayer book of Queen Elizabeth I. It is not just a relic, but a multi-talented royal artifact. It contains poems written by her in 5 languages, because being a queen and a polyglot was her way of showing off. The cover was embroidered by Elizabeth herself using silk and silver thread on velvet, as if saying, "I rule an empire and I also do crafts." It proves that even the most powerful monarch needed an artistic corner. Queen outside, artisan inside. Have you heard about the egg of Columbus? It is the simplest trick with the biggest ego. Columbus challenged his critics to make an egg stand upright, and when they failed, he flattened the base and made it stand. Egg standing, critics silent. The lesson is beautiful and cruel at the same time. Sometimes the impossible just needs a clever twist. It was not magic, it was thinking differently. And from that day, many people were left looking like eggs. The Graf Zeppelin traveled around the world in 1929 like a luxury cruise ship in the sky. It was a high-end airship with a piano on board and gourmet meals served while crossing oceans. Today, its speed would seem slow, but back then it felt like traveling inside a VIP cloud. It finished in New York in front of massive crowds staring at the floating beast in disbelief. Basically, the first premium travel experience with sky views. The Coral Castle in Florida looks like a "you will not believe this" made of stone. Edward Leeds Calnan built it alone, moving blocks, weighing up to 30 tons, and claimed he knew the secret of the pyramids. The strangest part is that he worked at night and no one ever saw him use machinery, so theories went wild. And he did it all for a lost love, as if heartbreak granted mythical construction powers. Sad romance with gigantic rocks. Ricky Martin prepares to record like he is about to open an energy portal. He performs aura-cleansing rituals using Tibetan singing bowls because he believes vibrations align his cells and leave his voice free of stress. It is like running spiritual antivirus software on vocal cords. He also practices extreme yoga to stay flexible, challenging age like professional elastic. Before singing total zen, after that, the stage catches fire. November 18th of 1307 sounds legendary because according to the story, William Tell shot an apple off his son's head. The wild part is that there is no solid proof that Tell even existed, yet the tale became a symbol of Swiss resistance, a story about perfect aim that ended up building national identity. Sometimes history is built with facts and sometimes with a story so good, no one wants to let it go. The Copper Scroll of Qumran feels like a treasure map designed to disappoint. Unlike other Dead Sea Scrolls, it is engraved on metal as if meant to last forever. It does not contain religious texts, but lists 64 locations where gold and silver are supposedly hidden in the desert. The problem is that the references are unclear today and no real treasure has ever been found. A perfect mystery with a promise of fortune and an ending full of frustration. Did you know the pacemaker was born from a mistake? Wilson Greatbatch was building a device to record heart sounds and accidentally used the wrong resistor. Instead of failing, the circuit produced rhythmic pulses that mimicked a heartbeat. The device basically decided to become life itself. That accident ended up saving millions of people by regulating the body's internal electricity. One error with a heroic ending. Did you know elite swimmers shave their entire bodies for only about 1% less drag? It sounds ridiculous until that 1% is the difference between gold and watching the podium from below in a 50-meter race. They end up so smooth they look like dolphins with ID cards ready to slice through water. It is basically human aerodynamics but pool edition. Olympic glory sometimes starts with wax. Cinemask was one of the strangest attempts to control emotions using color filters worn on the face. Instead of three-dimensional glasses, you put on a mask designed to manipulate your brain through color during scenes. The idea sounded brilliant until audiences felt uncomfortable, dizzy, and visually exhausted. It was like being forced to watch a movie through scratch-borrowed glasses. The result was ambitious technology and people in pain. Hollywood experimenting while the body said enough. Discover Picasso in full, do not waste my time mode. Stories say he carried a blank firing pistol, and if someone asked stupid questions about his art, he would fire it into the air. Not to hurt anyone, but to scare them and watch the reaction, like a shock-based nonsense detector. He used surprise as a defense against social mediocrity, artist edition with a panic button. Imagine being the annoying guest and leaving with ringing ears. The Book of Eternity looks like something from a post-apocalyptic bunker. It uses nickel pages designed to last more than 10,000 years. The idea is to store human knowledge in case of a global catastrophe that forces civilization to restart. It resists corrosion and extreme temperatures like an external hard drive for the planet. The wildest part is that it must be read with microscopes because the information is engraved at a tiny scale. It is Wikipedia in indestructible mode. Do you know Juzcar, the town that collectively decided to turn blue? It was painted entirely blue for a movie, and after filming the residents said, tourism arrived, so let us keep it this way. From white village to electric blue landmark, like the map picked the wrong color. Cinema literally changed the local economy with a bucket of paint. Proof that Hollywood can remodel your town and it can actually be good for you. Pandora's box is the perfect myth to explain why touching what you should not usually ends badly. According to the story, all human evils were stored inside, waiting for their moment to escape. In symbolic archaeology, similar vessels appear as reminders not to be too curious. The message is simple and brutal. Knowledge can be dangerous, and curiosity always charges a toll. The burning mirror of Archimedes is every strategist's dream, setting ships on fire using the sun. The idea involved polished bronze shields focusing sunlight onto enemy wood until it ignited. For centuries, it sounded like pure myth. Modern experiments have shown that under specific conditions, it could actually be physically possible. Ancient science was supervillain energy powered by solar light. The Lancia Stratus HF looks like a space wedge on wheels with zero interest in blending in. It was the first car designed specifically for rally racing and featured a panoramic windshield for maximum peripheral vision. See more drive, better survive longer. It is an Italian design jewel mixing aggression and elegance, like a tailored suit that knows how to fight. Owning one means owning an era when the industry said conventional is boring. A classic that still screams, "Look at me." The swamp pitcher plant does not hunt with teeth, but with patience and chemistry. It is a carnivorous plant with pitcher-shaped traps filled with enzymes that dissolve insects like a lethal soup. Its red color and sweet smell act as an invitation, and once prey slips in, it is over. It evolved this way because it lives in nutrient-poor soil and needed nitrogen, so it did the logical thing and became a hunter. Nature is beautiful, gentle, and completely ruthless. Discovered Diego Rivera in full obsessive collector mode. He gathered more than 50,000 original pre-Hispanic art pieces. He said he needed to be surrounded by the energy of his ancestors to paint, like inspiration powered by spiritual Wi-Fi. To store that treasure, he built the Anahuacalli, a volcanic stone museum that looks like a mystical fortress. He did not just paint murals, he built his own temple. When a hobby goes too far but becomes history. Did you know January 0 exists even though it does not? In astronomy and ephemeris calculations, it is used as a ghost day to avoid rounding errors in time. It does not appear on human calendars, but scientists summon it when cosmic order is needed. Thanks to this elegant trick, satellites and telescopes stay sane. Science basically saying, yes, I invented a day, so what? The lovers of Valdro tombs are one of those discoveries that leave you silent. Two skeletons found embracing each other from 6,000 years ago. They were discovered in Italy and died young, but remained together as if time had no permission to separate them. It is not just archaeology, it is a frozen emotional scene. The oldest I choose you ever recorded, carved in bone, romantic and overwhelming at the same time. Teflon was born from an accident worthy of oops, I discovered the future. Roy Plunkett was searching for a refrigerant and found a strange white powder that was slippery and heat-resistant like nothing known. That discovery led to non-stick pans and even space technology because nothing sticks to Teflon. One mistake gave us easy cooking and space exploration. Chemistry is chaotic but useful. Lizard wine in Vietnam is a cultural shock with a diploma. And are you serious? Small reptiles are placed alive in bottles of rice liquor and left to infuse like a potion. People believe the animal's vitality transfers to the drink, giving resistance against fatigue. For some, it is rural medicine, and for others, a test of extreme courage. First sip and your brain zooms in, asking, did I just drink bottled bravery? Julio Iglesias has a meticulous diva superstition. He never wears the same suit again if something went wrong during a concert. If sound failed or he felt uncomfortable, the outfit becomes cursed and is given away or discarded because the fabric absorbs bad energy. He also insists his right side faces the camera for his perfect angle, as if it were a law of physics. In his world, fashion is not fashion, it is spiritual protection. Glamour with an anti-jinx manual. In karate, there is the legend of the death touch, and it sounds like a movie because partly it is. The story claims that pressing specific points could cause delayed collapse, as if the body had a hidden off switch. It is not scientifically accepted and remains popular myth amplified by cinema. Serious masters mention it more as a warning that the body is fragile and should be respected. Moral lesson: martial arts, yes. Deadly fantasies, no. Did you know Marie Curie paid for her discovery with her life? She died from radiation exposure, including from the papers and notebooks she worked with. The most incredible part is that her notes are still so radioactive, they are stored in lead boxes to protect researchers. It is a heroic and sad story, science that saves millions with a brutal personal cost. Genius sometimes comes with a very real bill. The telegraph plant Codariocalyx motorius is a plant that refuses to stay still. It moves its leaves rhythmically as if it were dancing or sending signals. It reacts to light and sound, and its small leaflets move like botanical Morse code to anyone watching. It is one of the few plants whose behavior looks almost animal to the naked eye. You look at it and think, wait, is it waving at me? Nature in full I can move, and I will show it mode. April 23rd is a date loaded with literature because it is associated with the deaths of Cervantes, Shakespeare, and Inca Garcilaso de la Vega. They did not actually die on the exact same day due to different calendars, but the date became a shared symbol. From this came World Book Day as a tribute to three literary giants. It is as if history picked one day to say, today we celebrate words. An epic closing for eternal authors. The Longyu Caves in China are a mystery that feels frustrating because of how perfect they are. Massive chambers carved into sandstone with uniform patterns that look machine-made. They are about 2,000 years old and no one knows for sure who made them or why, because there are no clear records. It is estimated that roughly 35 million cubic feet of stone were removed, which is an engineering madness. It is the kind of place that makes you ask, how did they do this without leaving a trace? Penicillin was discovered because Fleming left a culture plate exposed and nature did the rest. A mold killed the bacteria around it and revealed the antibiotic that changed medicine forever. Suddenly, infections that were once death sentences had treatments. It was a lab accident with the impact of a global miracle. Sometimes science advances not through control, but through carelessness with a happy ending. Ox gall wine was ancient medicine in its most bitter form. People mixed bovine bile with strong wine to treat digestion and eyesight. It sounds like punishment, but it was consumed believing it cleansed the body from the inside. It perfectly shows how food and medicine were once the same thing, just therapeutic brews. Today you would call it a cocktail and get kicked out of the bar. Back then, it was health with a taste of suffering. Did you know Sugar Ray Robinson dreamed he would kill his opponent and wanted to cancel the fight? He was so terrified by the premonition that he tried to back out, but a priest convinced him to fight anyway. Tragically, Jimmy Doyle died after the match and Robinson was changed forever. It is one of those cases where the ring leaves not just bruises but deep mental scars. Sense Surround was cinema designed to shake your soul and your seat. In 1974, during the movie, earthquake giant speakers were installed so the audience could physically feel the disaster. The problem was, people felt it too much, causing dizziness and even damage to some theaters. The immersion became so intense, it was eventually shut down for being too realistic. Meet David Alfaro Siqueiros, the artist who painted as if he were in battle. A radical activist jailed multiple times, yet he kept sketching in prison with whatever materials he could find. For him, art was not decoration, it was a weapon to liberate the people. Imagine being locked up and still saying bars will not stop me. The death of King Alexander I of Greece feels like fate written with dark humor. While trying to separate his dog from an attack, he was bitten on the leg by a pet monkey. The wound led to sepsis, and in 1920, medicine could not save him. One bite reshaped Balkan politics, proving chaos can come in monkey size. Discover the Howmet TX, the car that raced at Le Mans with a helicopter turbine engine because normal was boring. It had no conventional gearbox and emitted a high-pitched whistle that startled other drivers mid-race. It was like racing a car and suddenly being passed by a turbine on wheels. a wild experiment built to beat air resistance with pure mechanical madness. The gold car sounds like a joke, but it was real. Only 3 were made for an American Express promotion. It was coated in 24-karat gold, turning it into a rolling jewel that would not last one traffic light without attention. It is so exclusive it lives mostly in museums, not streets. One scratch equals instant financial tragedy luxury that hurts. Did you know the Jungle Book has a disturbing real-world root beyond the story? Kipling drew inspiration from real cases of feral children in India, humans who adapted to survive outside society. That is why Mowgli resonates so strongly. It is not just adventure, but identity and survival in animal mode. It asks the uncomfortable question, if you grow up with wolves, what do you become? The Hand of Glory is a macabre superstition straight out of an 18th century horror film. It was said to be the mummified hand of a hanged man used as a candle to put households to sleep and allow theft unseen. A burglary kit with dark witchcraft vibes. Today, one is kept at the Whitby Museum as a reminder of how far criminal imagination once went. The mutiny on the Bounty was the most epic resignation in naval history. Sailors rebelled, fled, and ended up forming a new society on Pitcairn Island. To avoid being tracked, they burned their own ship, erasing the return path entirely. Freedom came at a massive cost, and they signed it with fire. The Crooked Forest in Poland looks like nature released a special edition. About 400 pine trees curve at a 90-degree angle right from the base. No one knows if it was natural or shaped by humans to create curved wood for ships. It is so precise it feels suspicious, like the forest went through a workshop. You walk there and your brain keeps saying this cannot be random. The resurrection plant is the queen of I died, just kidding. It can stay dry for years, curled into a ball, looking completely lifeless. Add water, and within hours it unfolds and turns green again, like it has a reset button. Real plant magic that embarrasses tired humans everywhere. Goya painted his black paintings directly onto the walls of his house while deaf and isolated from the world. They were never meant for exhibition, but to live with his nightmares like a private horror diary. He filled his home with dark visions and distorted myths, turning it into a museum of his mind. Art as a scream, not decoration. October 12th of 1492 marked the collision of 2 worlds that did not know each other existed. Europe brought steel and gunpowder, but also viruses and diseases that reshaped an entire continent. From that point, plants, animals, and cultures crossed oceans forever. It was the beginning of globalization, epic, brutal, and irreversible. Baby mouse wine is one of those facts that make you beg, no please. In China and Korea, it is mentioned as a drink where newborn mice are fermented in rice wine for medicinal purposes. It is believed to transfer vital energy and cure ailments, though for many it is a total cultural shock. Traditional medicine requiring a steel stomach. Vicente Fernandez had a sacred pact. While the audience applauded, he kept singing. He could stay on stage for more than 4 hours, pushing his voice to marathon limits. He believed stopping early brought bad luck, so he endured like a bull. That is why he is a legend, total physical commitment with no end show button. In karate, there is ice breaking, and it is not magic. It is technique, precision, and train bone. Masters break massive blocks with their head using micro-oscillation posture and conditioning, not superpowers. The margin for error is tiny. If you hesitate, physics collects its debt. A stunning display where the real opponent is ice and fear. Airless tires are revolutionizing the automotive industry. They eliminate the risk of punctures and reduce premature tire wear. This significantly lowers operating and maintenance costs. They are already being used in various vehicles, proving innovation can roll forward safely and efficiently. In Indonesia, the Korowai people build their homes in trees up to about 148 feet high. Living that elevated protects them from floods, wild animals, and even evil spirits. From that height, they can also spot enemies or intruders from far away. A black bear in Alaska shocked park rangers by learning how to open car doors to steal food. Its technique was so effective, It earned the nickname the furry car thief. This behavior shows just how intelligent and adaptable animals can be. Pepper X holds the title of the hottest chili pepper in the world, surpassing the Carolina Reaper. Its heat level exceeds 3 million Scoville units, causing extreme burning. It is a challenge for brave spice lovers and not recommended for beginners. In Japan, the most expensive sushi in the world exists, decorated with edible 24-karat gold. The pieces are made with the freshest and most select fish, turning food into extreme luxury art. Eating it is a full sensory spectacle where gastronomy meets exclusivity. Surströmming soup in Sweden is known as the smelliest food in the world. Made from herring fermented for months, its odor is so intense, cans are recommended to be opened outdoors. Those who try it say the flavor is unique, strong, and salty. This tradition proves smell does not always predict taste pleasure. The astronomical clock of Prague, built in 1410 by Mikuláš, is far more than a clock. It shows basic time moon phases, stars, and several ancient time systems. Flamingos sleep standing on one leg, alternating almost unconsciously. They can hold the position for up to 10 hours, though about 4 hours is more common. This posture helps them conserve energy while resting. They even perform most daily activities balanced on one leg. The color of eggs depends on the breed of the hen that lays them. For example, the Leghorn hen produces white eggs, while other breeds like Barn or Orpington lay brown eggs. Despite the difference in color, the taste and nutrients are the same. Portable air conditioners have arrived to change how we deal with extreme heat. Their compact size allows them to be moved anywhere, offering relief even outside the home. This innovation will be key in a future with increasingly intense heat waves. Sebastian Steudtner broke the Guinness World Record by surfing the highest wave ever recorded, reaching about 94 feet in Nazaré, Portugal. This achievement surpassed his previous record of about 86 feet. Steudtner became a legend of international surfing. Swimming with kangaroos is extremely dangerous because these marsupials can be aggressive in their territory. They are strong and excellent swimmers and may try to drown what they see as a threat in the water. This behavior protects their territory and ensures survival. That is why it is best to keep your distance and admire them from shore. The chimera cat has 2 types of DNA as a result of the fusion of 2 zygotes. This gives it a unique appearance with differences in fur and eye color. It is a rare genetic phenomenon that creates a completely one-of-a-kind feline. Every chimera cat is a masterpiece of nature. Palm sugar stands out for its colors ranging from amber to deep red and is extracted by hand from palm sap. It contains minerals and antioxidants, making it more nutritious than refined sugar. It is essential in the cuisine of many Asian and African cultures. Its complex flavor adds notes of caramel and molasses to dishes. A man lived for years with 2 hearts thanks to a partial transplant called a heterotopic heart. The donated heart was connected to the original one, working in parallel to pump blood. This technique helps in extreme cases of heart failure when a traditional transplant is not viable. The kitchen has also been reinvented with modern technology as air fryers allow cooking without oil. Hot air circulates rapidly, making food crispy and tasty with very little fat. This significantly reduces calories without sacrificing flavor or texture. It is ideal for those who want to eat better without giving up fried food pleasure. In Japan, there is a beer that contains real particles of edible gold. Beyond being a drink, it becomes a unique visual and sensory experience. The gold does not change the flavor and is safe to consume, but gives the liquid a fascinating shine. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. It was chosen for its meaning in Celtic mythology, where it symbolizes purity, innocence, masculinity, and power. In Thailand, the market on the train tracks is a major attraction. Stalls are set up directly on the rails, and when a train arrives, vendors quickly remove awnings and products. Airplanes have red and green lights on the tips of their wings to indicate position and direction. Red is on the left and green on the right, and they help prevent collisions. They are on from the moment the pilot enters the cockpit until leaving, even during the day or in low visibility. In case of danger, each aircraft must turn toward the green light to move away quickly. Japanese skier Ryoyu Kobayashi achieved a record jump of nearly 980 feet in Iceland. His flight lasted 8 seconds on a ramp built by Red Bull, although the International Ski Federation does not officially recognize it. It was not certified and did not use an approved ramp or validated measurement. Even so, the jump showed superhuman skill and extreme courage. Teffy is a robot dog designed to guide dependent people or those with visual disabilities. It uses voice recognition to respond to commands without physical interfaces. It also features autonomous navigation capable of moving safely indoors and on streets. Its purpose is to combine assistance and autonomy to improve daily life. Morocco and Argentine Dogo faced a mountain lion to protect 2 young girls. The children were in danger while picking fruit, but Morocco intervened bravely. He fought the predator, weighing about 220 pounds, and emerged victorious, showing loyalty and courage. The Gulabi gang in India is made up of women who fight gender-based violence. Its members use bamboo sticks, public shaming, and persuasion to defend women and educate men. They are between 40 and 60 years old and confront male dominance with determination. The streets of Venice are made of water because the city was built on a lagoon. This strategic location made enemy invasions difficult in ancient times. Tides, especially in fall and spring, regularly flood large parts of the city. Google captures images of streets around the world, even where there are no roads. In deserts and remote areas, they use camels equipped with cameras to photograph the environment. This allows visual exploration of cultures and landscapes that would otherwise be inaccessible. LEGO released a Roman Colosseum kit with 9,036 pieces, the largest to date. It accurately recreates the architecture of the original amphitheater and offers a challenge for expert builders. The set includes fine details that showcase the Colosseum's grandeur. Alongside the Star Wars Millennium Falcon, it leads the largest and most detailed kits. In Kyoto, Japan, trains literally pass through buildings. This urban design integrates transportation and daily life efficiently. Tracks near homes and shops make trains part of the scenery. Despite the noise, residents value the convenience and accessibility, balancing modernity and tradition. The Kawah volcano in Indonesia glows blue at night. Its sulfuric gases ignite when they meet hot air, creating a stunning natural spectacle. This only happens under specific conditions combining beauty and danger. Tourists and scientists come to witness this unique phenomenon that looks like it belongs to a magical world. The free-tailed bat of Central and South America can walk like a monkey. It uses its hind legs and tail for support to move along the ground with agility. This helps it escape predators and search for food in hard-to-reach places. The Colobopsis ant explodes its own body to defend the colony. When facing enemies, it releases toxic substances by rupturing itself, blocking entrances, and driving attackers away. This sacrifice protects the group and ensures the survival of the community. Science is moving toward reading thoughts using technologies like magnetic resonance imaging and brain electrodes. Neural signals are already being translated into simple words or images. Reading complex thoughts or deep emotions is still far away. This research also raises ethical concerns about mental privacy and information control. Before money, some cultures used food as currency. The Maya used cacao beans to buy clothes tools and even slaves. Cacao was so valuable that it was sometimes not eaten. This is the curious economic origin of chocolate, which we now enjoy as a sweet and cultural symbol. Some countries changed their names for political or tourism reasons. Macedonia became North Macedonia to resolve a diplomatic conflict with Greece. In 2023, Swaziland changed its name to Eswatini to attract tourists and reinforce its African identity. A name can influence a country's economy, culture, and international perception. The Sarpa salpa is a Mediterranean fish capable of causing hallucinations. Its flesh can contain toxins that affect the nervous system, creating vivid visions and dreams. In ancient times, the Romans used it in psychedelic rituals. Its effect depends on the fish's diet, making its consumption both a culinary and sensory experience. And this is all. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Zarpado facts.